Hendrick. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you! Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
Hey everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Weekly Podcast here this week on my channel. I hope you guys are having a good one. Joined alongside my usual co-host here, the Iceberg, Darren Gilliam, and Eric Eastep. A lot to discuss after that one. A very eventful weekend in all of motorsports. Formula One, IndyCar, and then 3 NASCAR races. Where do we even begin with this one? I guess we just got to start off with, that crazy Sunday night Coke 600. Denny Hamlin goes on to get win number 2 of the season, and he won it from the pole. Didn't really feel like it, though, because he was kind of not really to be seen until all the craziness happened in the final lap. So, I don't know. Who wants to get a start here? Maybe Darren, you want to get a start on this one?
Mm-hmm. Well, first off...
I can see you this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's another big thing. Yeah, we finally got the camera working. But, well, first off, it was a spectacular day racing in general. You had Monaco, Indy 500, and the Coke 600. First off, as far as the Monaco race, Ferrari is a poverty team. They can't seem to get anything right as far as strategy calls, and they just, throw away wins all the damn time. So I don't know how Schumacher was able to pull out 5 consecutive F1 championships with that team, because they always mess up. But anyways, Indy 500 was great. Marcus Ericsson wins. He's a former F1 driver. Now he's known in the history books and IndyCar history forever now. But the Coke 600, I had tweeted before the race, I was like, with this Gen 7 being so good on the intermediates this year, wouldn't it be fantastic to get a 2005 type Coke 600? And boom, what we got was in some ways better. I mean, just the racing was spectacular throughout the night. And, the problem with long races like this is that, there's what I call a bit of a dead period in terms of action on the track, because they're just trying to make it to the end, right? So they're not going to push the issue every, a whole lot. But it seemed to me I saw a bunch of drivers pushing the issue every now and then, especially Chase Briscoe as well towards the end there. And then, the flip later on in the race, man, and that was nuts. I think what happened... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that flip come at a period where I was starting to get a little tired. That definitely woke me up. I got to say that.
Yeah, and it happened so late, too. You're just he's just spinning. Then he hit a drainage ditch? And then it just...
No, he didn't hit a ditch at all. He just, his tire caved in and it just propelled him up.
Oh, okay, so it just caved into the turf, so it didn't hit anything.
Pole vaulted him.
Yeah.
Danny,
it did.
Danny, you were saying how that woke you up. The people who weren't up, who weren't needing to be woken up, were my downstairs neighbors, because pretty much for the last half of that race, I was screaming the whole time. It was nuts. I mean, the thing that I liked about this race is it straight up had good racing the whole time. It wasn't just, I didn't say I liked it because it was a wreck fest. I didn't like it because there was, a close finish at the end or a green white checker. I liked it because it was actually really
It just had everything.
Right. Yeah, it had everything you could ask for from one of these races. And even though it was literally the longest race lengthwise in NASCAR history, It didn't feel like it. 619
and a half miles.
Yeah. And like y'all were saying, falling asleep, I wasn't tired because it was, a slow race. I was tired because I had been like Jarrett, practically screaming at my TV for 5 hours and 16 minutes. So that's why I was burned out, and the Chris Buscher flip was just added to it. But
not to mention all the other racing we were watching all day. So
it was spectacular racing. Forget all the wrecks and stuff aside, all the other drama stuff, just the pure racing too. That was one of the best Coke 600s I've seen in. Wow, Jared, what'd you say? 2005, 2007, something like that?
It was my personal favorite since 2007. I liked 2011 until the end, but if I have to go strictly off of racing and a race that had everything, I would say it's probably the best since 2007. So that's 15 years? God, this
Yeah.
2007.
It feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday to me too. Yeah.
I feel like I need to go back and rewatch like the 17 Coke 600 when Austin Dillon won on fuel strategy, because I can't remember much more other than Austin Dillon winning. I need to go back and rewatch that one.
Yeah, I don't know. So a lot of these Coke 600s, I feel like, like obviously it's a race we're obviously going to keep on the Cup Series schedule forever. It's one of our marquee traditional races. But like for the most part, especially in recent years, it's just like, the Coke 600, it's great to watch and stuff, every now and then. But like you have a few of those races where it's like, I don't really remember what happened. But the 2022 edition of the Coke 600, definitely one we're going to remember for a long time. We
had, I think, a total. There was 3 big wrecks. So there was one that happened in the turn, obviously the flip of Buscher, and then that big wreck on one of the last restarts too. So, like it or not, some NASCAR fans are attracted to crashes. So that one was all over for them.
The thing I liked about this race is, the crashes were due to the cars being hard to drive. Sometimes it bordered on unpredictable, but most of the time it was predictable. Like, no disrespect to Chase Briscoe, but him spinning out there, entirely predictable, entirely on him.
Bristol all over again right there.
Hey, look, he's going for it, man. He's already locked in. So
go for it without wrecking yourself. That's the next step. But like going back to the testing earlier in the season, I think even during the off season, they couldn't go more than 20 laps without spinning out. And that's exactly what we saw Sunday night. I mean, I think second half of the race, they maybe had a 30 or 40 lap run at some point. And I was like, wow, I guess all the amateurs wrecked out already. I don't know. It was predictable in that sense. And that's what you want to see. You don't necessarily want to see, 35 cars get tore up or whatever the number was. I think Ty Dillon was the only guy.
He was the only one.
You don't want to see that every week. But if you're going to see it, you want it to be because the cars were hard to drive. And the drivers who spun out and got caught up in crashes, for the most part, were caught up in crashes because they made mistakes, because they overstepped that fine line that we're used to seeing NASCAR drivers walk. So that alone, I thought made it really exciting. I think the crashes, you don't want to see anyone get hurt. Thankfully, Chris Buscher was okay. Thankfully, Logano took a big hit and seemed okay. Dillon took a big hit, seemed okay. But at least if they're gonna crash because it's challenging, because make it look like the professionals are having to work really hard.
And this is something that we don't even have wrote on our notes here, but I think it's just refreshing from this. A 600-mile race, and we really didn't have too many tire issues like we've been having in the last few weeks, I noticed.
Yeah.
We had a few.
I mean, there's a few, but compared to some of the other races this year, it was definitely not as much.
We did have one tire get stuck, but not quite on the level of what happened to Eric Jones.
Was it Bowman? They had an issue with it?
Yes, he didn't go a lap down, though. They did get it back kind of fast, but that did happen.
I mean, Buscher's got stuck in the grass.
And it's somehow held on by a string. That thing, I don't know what held that thing on.
That's like the car version of a torn ACL, where it's just dangling there at that point.
It basically is. And then when they're trying to flip the car back on its when they're trying to flip it back over and stuff, the tire just keeps dangling and stuff. I'm like, guys, don't get hit by the tire.
No, I will say, and you pretty much know when it's a flip and all the energy is going all different directions, the driver's fine. But I have to admit, and yes, this is the first time a next gen has flipped, those that we know of.
Daytona.
Well, I mean, flipped and been stuck on its
okay,
roof at the end, I should say. I would say that, they're probably still rusty on how to flip the car back over with a new car, especially with how they have to attach different things to with the tow trucks and everything. But I have to admit, as someone watching, it was really kind of unsettling how long it took. Mm-hmm. And I want to applaud Fox for something, because I've ripped on Fox for doing the complete opposite. They didn't immediately show all the replays until Buscher got out of the car.
Yeah,
that is a huge change of pace.
Lesson learned this time.
Because, I was at the 2020 Daytona 500s. I don't really remember. Did they show a bunch of replays of Neiman before we knew?
Well, obviously we didn't know until the next day, so they did show some replays. But they did wait. If I remember, they waited at least a few minutes, but there was no.
Just don't use Buscher's flip in every single fuck.
We
have to ask.
Yeah. Don't give him too much credit. I thought as far as the response time, I don't know. I'm not a driver. I'm not a safety guy, so I can't speak to it. I saw Brad Keselowski was tweeting that, that it was taking too long. That's also his car that they're dealing with, so maybe he had a sense of urgency there. I don't know, but in defense of them, it took them about 5 minutes. I remember being at the race at Daytona in 2014 when Kyle Busch had kind of a lazy flip and they had to flip his car right side up. I don't remember how long it took, but it felt like it took at least a couple of minutes. And in the case of Ryan Newman at Daytona, granted, that car was eviscerated. I don't even know how you'd hook that thing up to the wrecker, but I don't remember them flipping that car over for and maybe until Fox went off the air. Like, I don't remember when they finally flipped that car. It felt like it was a good 5-10 minutes until they finally got that thing flipped. So yeah, it's the new car. It takes time maybe to learn exactly how to flip this thing. I would give the crews the benefit of the doubt. They immediately were in Chris Buscher's window. He had the window net down. They were probably communicating with him. As soon as they knew he was okay, there was no imminent reason to extract him from the car, they probably wanted to just go about flipping it as safely and precisely as possible to not damage it any further. I don't know. That's just my theory, but I understand the initial concerns from industry people saying it took too long to get them out. I don't know what the standard is there, because I feel like I've seen them take a long time to get people out before.
Yeah, it was something that was different from recent years, for some flips, I would say. But I mean, you knew that he would be all right, so it wasn't like terribly urgent by any means. But it was so odd to see a flip like that at Charlotte.
Yeah, especially at Charlotte.
But we knew going into the season there would be someone to test it early on, and well, now it's been tested.
Yeah, so now we know.
Yeah.
But speaking of testing, I guess we can move on to talk a little bit more about Denny Hamlin. He has moved up to now 48 career wins, and he is tied with Herb Thomas for 16th all time. Could Denny Hamlin hit 50 wins by the end of this year?
I mean, the way it's going, I think so. He had a terrible start to the season, and it seems like for the most part he hasn't improved like too much. But he has 2 wins though. So that means him and Ross Chastain are the only ones with multiple wins this year. Byron too. Yeah.
His 2 wins though this year have been almost like how Bowman was last year. They come just like with a last minute shenanigan that got him in that position. So we haven't seen him looking dominant, like he's clearly going to win a race yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he hasn't dominated, but at least he's finishing races now. He's gotten a few more top 5s, or at least 1 or 2 more top 5s, since we were joking for the longest time that he had no top 5s, or his only top 5 was that win. He's finally finishing some of those races, so that's a good sign. So I'll say he's at 48. I think he wins 2 more races this year. I think they have the speed, so I'll say I think he gets 2 more this year. I think he stops at 50 this year.
See, I don't know if he's consistently fast enough to. I know that, yes, he has gotten in this position. I know Danny had the comparison to Bowman, who had 4 wins last year. But there's something just that feels, even when they're running well, it feels off about the 11 team this year. And this is compared to the rest of the JGR team as well. I don't know what it is. I can't point a finger directly at it, but it definitely, to me, seems like, 2 more wins, I think, is pushing it. I would say 2 is probably the max. So I'd say he could, but I'm going to lean with no. I think he can get 1 more win this year. I don't think 2.
He has had some years where there was a dry spell, because I think, 2017, did he go winless that year? It was either 17 or 18. He went winless one of those years.
It was 2018.
So granted, he's not going to go winless this year, obviously, but this could still be an off year for Hamlin standards.
Yeah,
it's just crazy how the system is. It's considered an off year for him, but he's technically tied for the points lead. The playoffs were to start today.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of weird. What's his average finish though? I'm really curious to see what his average finish is.
19.5.
Good Lord!
That's for a championship, for a supposed championship leader.
Okay, hey, I'm just curious. How does he compare to, say, Bubba? One of his drivers.
I know he's ahead of him in points. That's all I know.
Hamlin
for all the crapping on Hamlin, he is up to 17th in points. He was 30th a few weeks ago.
I just realized this too, Jarrett. Where is he compared to Bubba in your Winston Cup points? We were talking about that this morning.
Again, that only just reflects on finishes.
But I still find it interesting though, because at least it counts only finishes and stuff. So still get a gauge.
If we were to go off of that, he'd be 18th versus Bubba's 24th.
Okay. So again, he's not doing too well.
So right now, Denny's average finish is 19 something. Bubba's average finish is 20.5. So really, he's right around running the same as Bubba so far this season.
Right.
But if I look at Hamlin, if I look at his last 4 points races, and granted, I have the liberty of having his stats pulled up right here in front of me. He finished 21st at both Dover and Darlington, but he led at least 40 laps in both races. And then Kansas, he finished 4th, didn't lead any laps, finished 4th. And then yesterday, Charlotte finished 1st. So he's got back-to-back top 5s, and he led laps in the 2 races he didn't finish in the top 5. So I just think now that they're starting to finish those races, those laps led are going to turn to top 5s, and a few of those will back into wins, he kind of did at Charlotte. So
if he's starting to get that consistent, that's definitely at least a win or two. It's definitely in the works, probably.
Now, I double checked in here, but he's also has that penalty from Dover still on him.
Oh, that's right.
So he didn't have Gabe Hart this weekend.
That's what I'm wondering. Obviously they've been trending in the right direction, but it's like you get a win without your crew chief.
Yeah,
you have to wonder what the problem was there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So do they experiment
Well, his other win came on a strategy play that I think Gabe Hart gets a lot of credit for. I mean,
but I'm talking strategy though versus speed.
Sure. There's a trade. Yeah, exactly. You got a point.
It's interesting to look at, and I believe this goes through Nashville, so it's going to be really interesting to see just how different the performance is before, during, and after that suspension.
Oh, really quick. Let me ask y'all this really quick question. Out of these 2 drivers, who has had the biggest in-season turnaround so far? Denny Hamlin or Christopher Bell?
Christopher Bell.
Yeah, I was going to say Bell. I know Hamlin's doing great, but
even with
way lower.
Hamlin, no offense, has lucked into 2 wins. Christopher Bell, I'm consistently seeing him there now.
I don't know. The 2 wins has to put Hamlin above Bell for me in that case. Bell's running more consistent, but Hamlin, when he's on, he's winning. Bell hasn't sniffed a win yet.
You still have to give Bell props.
No, give Bell props.
Though. He pointed his way inside the playoffs now.
But Hamlin's one position away from pointing his way in. Right. So I think it's close, but I'm impressed by Bell because he's younger and he hasn't won a bunch of races in the past like Hamlin. But Hamlin, so far as I think in general, Joe Gibbs Racing looks good because Kyle Busch, if Hamlin doesn't win this weekend, Kyle Busch wins. So Joe Gibbs Racing, while maybe not dominant every week, and I didn't think they were dominant at all at Charlotte. I think Hendrick Chevys were once again probably the best cars. Trackhouse with Chastain and Suarez were probably the best cars. But they were there at the end, and they were still close. They qualified well, and they were close. I think Joe Gibbs Racing in general is on the right track.
If we're gonna talk about any other teams, man, let's talk about Trackhouse really quick. Suarez just. He can't catch a break, man. He's running up front every now and then.
Well, you tweet about him. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Him and Reddick both, just when it looks like they're having a great day, something happens to him. And it's called Darian tweets about him.
But in all seriousness, though, they're in that same boat that kind of Denny Hamlin was in. That no matter if they're causing their problems or not, they cannot close races out. Like, they can run great, but they can never run great when it actually matters. And that's their biggest problem this year, especially Suarez. I mean, I think if half the things that happen to Suarez don't happen, he's pointing his way right now into the playoffs around where probably Harvick is.
Yeah, I think the problem with both Suarez and Reddick is they're just a little over aggressive. I think they're young, relatively speaking. Suarez is like, how old Suarez? Like 28, but he feels like a young 28, even though he's been around a while. He's been with a bunch of teams, but we knew he wasn't really ready when he got into the Cup Series when he did. So he's always been kind of playing catch up. But in both cases, they're just over aggressive. And I think in the case of Suarez, ran a great race, pretty much a clean race all night long. He roughed up Kyle Busch a little bit, didn't make contact with Kyle Busch, but he slid up and kind of, that was, an ugly pass, but a pass nonetheless. And he just cleared himself off Briscoe late in the race, just made a mistake. That's the kind of thing that veteran drivers are, I think, just avoid making those mistakes, even late in the race, even after they've run 370 perfect miles, or laps. That's what I think it just ultimately comes down to, is they're both talented and extremely impressive in spurts, but NASCAR races are marathons, and it's just hard to consistently be there at the end. The difference between Reddick and Suarez is that Reddick has been there at the end a couple of times this year and either had it taken from him or maybe he's made a mistake. Suarez is yet to get to the end just yet. Like he's leads the first 15 laps.
Only
he sweeps the state, and then that's true. He choked on a lot last year, but he dominates the first stage of Coda, and either between him, mechanical failure, strategy play, whatever, race fell apart from there. Like that's kind of where Suarez is at.
Well, I do want to give one shout out to Reddick, and Sloppy brought this up in the chat, and I wanted to talk about it really quick. He had we can't call it a pass in the grass, but he had
a good pass,
surf in the turf at the end of the race, and I love that energy over the radio that he had. Like, I don't know if you heard the radio. He just screams, "Pass in the grass!"
I mean, that's legal. Why not be excited about that? So.
That's cool.
It was awesome. It was badass. Like,
awesome.
I wish that would have been shown on the broadcast, and I get why they didn't. There was a good fight for the win. But when I saw that on Twitter the other day, I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And if they make that surf in the turf, like, let's make it that. Let's do that one.
Suarez is 30. Wow, he is a young 30. I thought he was like 28 still.
But really quick, to speak on Reddick and Suarez really quick, one of my points is, the reason they're over aggressive, especially now, the clock's ticking. Suarez has been in the Cup Series for 6.5 years now?
Mm-hmm.
6 years?
This is year 6.
Yeah, and he still has yet to score a victory. He's been with how many major teams? And then Tyler Reddick, Tyler Reddick, he should have 2 or 3 wins this year, in my opinion. He has shown up to certain tracks with speed. It just he can't close the deal.
The issue is that he has to get every little bit out of that car to keep up with anybody that's competitive.
So it's the same. I think it's the same. It's a similar situation that we saw with Larson when he drove for Chip Ganassi Racing. Just he has to carry that team. I
think that's fair.
This is
we see Larson. He made aggressive mistakes back in his Ganassi era, and he still makes aggressive mistakes with Hendrick now. But he has the speed to overcome it, which we can talk about in a moment. That's basically all he did all night long on Sunday.
It can really be argued. Part of the problem for Suarez in this case is that he's literally racing in one of the most competitive times in all of NASCAR right now. Because literally, there's so many guys that you could say could go out on any given Sunday and get a win that we couldn't used to be able to say that.
And I think it's because they're in that transition period. You saw this moving from the 90s into the early 2000s. There's just a transition where that new guard and the old guard, they just meet right in the middle, and it makes this hyper competitive racing. So I think that's a big reason why it'll be sort of, quote unquote, easier for some of these guys that don't win very often to get up there and take some wins away. But at the same time, there's so many of them, in the way that the car, the way the teams and silly season is mixed. It's a perfect storm of competitiveness throughout the field.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that remains the same is Hendrick Motorsports finding a way to still be probably the best team in the league. And I was actually looking through the 4 drivers for their stats this year. And do you guys have any guess on, of those 4, who has the best average finish this season?
Alex Bowman.
Yes. Surprisingly, yes, compared to last season.
Darian and I were talking about this morning on the run.
I'm over here there's only one reason Danny would bring it up.
His average finish is 11.7. Chase Elliott, him and Chase have pretty much the same stats: 1 win, 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s for both of them. But Chase is 12.4.
That was the knock on Bowman entering into the 2022 season. Oh, he's just not consistent enough. Oh, he only backs in wins. Well, this year, this year, he's showing off his consistency. That's for sure.
Oh, he's flipped the script. It's commendable.
But it's good to see everyone doing well. So
yeah, that's a super team basically.
Moving on out of that, let's talk about another big 4 team, Stewart-Haas Racing, Chase Briscoe. That move in the last couple of laps, fair or foul? I will start off and say fair. I think the entire way, him and Larson ran that completely fine. And he was still running Larson fine. He just lost it on himself.
Mm-hmm. Look, I said it earlier. He's already locked in, so it's like, look, at this point, you might as well just like go for it and stuff. But yeah, to Eric's earlier point, though, eventually you have to find a way to go for it without, sacrificing a top 5 finish, a red finish.
He didn't take the other car out this time.
Yeah.
Progress.
Improvement. So he technically did improve. There you go.
I think for that reason alone, you can say that it's completely fair. If he had taken Larson out, it'd be like, okay. That's kind of sus like before, but I would say fair. You're going for the win. You didn't take someone else out. You saved your car for the next restart. I believe he finished 4th. So
yeah, he still got a top 5.
I'm with you, Eric. Though I want him to finish it out because it's like he's showing. There's like flashes of what he can be. He just can't harness it in yet.
Yeah, the fair foul. I don't really understand the question. Like, it's fair for him to be aggressive in that instance, especially since he didn't take out Larson. But the move itself was foul. It just never worked. It was bad driving in that moment. So kind of the same as Bristol Dirt. Bristol Dirt, he committed to, I'm overdriving this corner. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? I'm just committing to it. That's not exactly what happened here. He committed to, again, driving in hard, but I think he thought it was going to stick. He knew it wasn't going to stick at Bristol, and he just sent it in there anyways. That's why I thought that was careless. In this case, I think he thought it would stick, and it just didn't. Still just drove it a little too far over his skis. But again, he didn't take Larson out. So that part is fair. Going for it is totally fair. But what impressed me about Briscoe is that Larson had a pretty big lead. Larson, I think they did a good job mentioning this on the broadcast, was getting loose. So he could only really run the wall. And, the wall was fast, especially on old tires. But Briscoe was good enough. He could run a half lane lower, get that clean air, and still eat into Larson's lead. And he got side by side with Larson a few laps earlier. And it looked like he maybe had the pass made for a second, had to fall back in line, but reeled him in anyways. So I know he only had a lap and a half to go, and it was going to be really hard to get alongside Larson and complete that pass. But the move he made just felt too desperate. It's like, I've been so close. I've been kind of smacking singles, and, I'm getting a lot of runs with these singles, but I want to hit that home run because home runs are cool. And so he went for the home run when really he probably could have used another single and would have still had a shot at racing Larson in the last lap.
And that's my only gripe with what he did is that, like, and IDK was over here watching the race with me and Riss, and the thing both of us were asking, we're like, dude, why would you do that when you have a lap and a half left? You still have 3 and 4 where he was making tons of ground up, and then another shot in 1 and 2 where he was getting the most out of it, even compared to the rest of the track. So that's where I think it's just a young driver that's inexperienced in Cup. But I want to say this because I had made a video last year talking about how I thought the Coke 600 was completely dull. How, like, it didn't feel special anymore. It was just another race. It was just longer. Like, between how hard everyone was actually racing and pushing it to the edge, and Denny Hamlin after the race, his reaction to winning that race, this felt, for the first time in a long time, it felt like a crown jewel. It felt like the Southern 500. It felt like being after the Daytona 500, where it's like you see a driver who realizes that he won something special, and you see drivers go out, and maybe that was part of it with Briscoe, is he pushed it to the edge because this race was so much more special for him and for other drivers. And I love that because this has been one of my least favorite races probably since the end of the COT era, to be completely honest. Through the Gen 6 era, this has been one of my least favorite races. And in my opinion, this is the race of the year so far. It
really did feel like there was as much prestige on this one as there was in an Indy 500 a few hours before it.
And that's not normal to feel like both of those races were special on the same day.
Exactly.
Like that's why I love all 3 races because, I got up early for Monaco. I watched Indy 500 with Darian. We watched the 600. All 3 races, for the first time that I can ever remember, I was watching them like, wow, this, like, I care about every single one of these. Every single one of these holds that prestige that the marketing says it should.
So really quick, let me ask you guys. So, like, the good news is, hey, Coke 600 seems to be on the rise again. But the bad news is we don't get to run the Charlotte Oval until next year. So let me ask you guys, I mean, I saw some people tweeting about this. Do we need the Roval anymore? Or,
I got numbers for you.
Hey, I'm just telling you, I got some flack because I put out a video like that yesterday. I got some flack for it. Some people saw what I was saying. I'm saying maybe we can do regular Charlotte and Texas Roval. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just look at I don't like this whole overreact to one good race. Like, it was one good race, keep it special. If we just have one great 600 a year, it is what it is. Okay. I think we can now revisit going back to Charlotte for the All-Star race in the near future.
Yes,
that should be on the table. But I think the Roval's proven to be a great show. I wouldn't change that.
I was looking at it as a chance to save Texas. That's all I was saying.
the only thing that I would say would leave the Roval up for question, and this is the same thing with pretty much any track, is like the Roval since that first year, I believe the TV audience has like went down by a third since then, which is more than any other chase race or playoff race.
I mean, it's had good moments, and granted, I enjoyed.
Those are great moments.
I enjoyed the Chase Elliott winning it after crashing, but also
that was cool.
It's hard to beat that first one.
You're never going to top that.
The chaos at the end of it, but then all the chaos in practice before they figured out to take out that stupid wall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And if I'm going off pure racing alone, keep the Roval. Like, keep it. It's proven to have better racing, better I won't say better moments overall. 600 has a lot more history to it, but better moments than the fall race had before.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that if the racing does get better, if mile and a halfs become the thing that every fan wants after this, wouldn't that be funny?
It really would.
If that's how it goes, I could see it happening, because there's no way in hell that they're going to get rid of one of their home dates. The sports they're not going to do that. I would not be horribly surprised if they went back to the Oval and did a Roval at Texas. Personally, I think keep the Roval though. If there's like a decade straight of just amazing mile and a half racing, okay, we can have a real debate on it.
And now we've added some more purpose-built road courses like Circuit of the Americas and Road America.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, in a couple of years, potentially, new TV deal, we can revisit. Again, like you said, the oval racing is really that great. We can revisit the Roval. But for now, I think it has a good slot.
Well, moving on. Next thing we have on our schedule here is, I guess this race being a really long race. I think it was noted earlier, 619.5 miles that we totally ran here. And the previous longest was 608 miles back in 2020. That's the one no one got to see.
I do want to talk a little bit about a couple, the damaged vehicle policy pissing off some drivers. Chase Elliott, they broke a tie rod, I guess, on the right rear, scraping the wall. And we're basically out of the race because they couldn't repair it or replace it in the 6-minute clock.
It really didn't look like there was a lot of damage, so it was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for them, and I know they had a good shot of him and Alan Gustafson. Almost felt like Gustafson was trying to cool him down a little bit in the garage area afterwards. And then Bubba Wallace's team, they were caught up in that one really big crash about midway through, but didn't have much damage. But it sounds like they misunderstood how the damaged vehicle clock works, and Booty Barker sent him back out there for a restart and just told him to lay back, save tires, not run full speed. And because they didn't meet minimum speed, they were off. They were out at that point because they didn't run. And so that one sounded a little more like it was on the team for not understanding the rules. Booty Barker's only been a crew chief now for about a year.
But again,
other than back in
leave it to 2311.
Leave it to 2311. I know that Booty Barker's still new to not modern NASCAR, but the 2022 NASCAR. He's only been anyway. But
all the issues other teams had, it led to. I made a note on Twitter at one point. Ryan Blaney, they showed him. He was way back behind everyone else. His car was like skewed sideways. It had so much damage to it. He's still out there just trying to go. And I'm like, just come in, dude. You know you can't race, but they're just trying to get around that damaged vehicle policy.
Yeah, it's probably just gain some points. Stay out. If you know you're screwed, just stay out there until they
black flag you.
Hey, like the Winston days. Yeah, the Winston days.
But I mean, it's a different version of that.
Different version. Yeah.
I mean, it's smart because I wouldn't be surprised if NASCAR either makes a rule of that, or if the teams take advantage of that until NASCAR makes a rule, because you saw there are a bunch of teams who just immediately go to the garage. And Blaney's like, well, we'll just crab walk our way to another 5 or 6 spots. And who knows, that might be the difference at the end of the regular season between 10 or 15 playoff points. So
they give you like 2 or 3 laps, I think, to meet minimum speed. So even if you know you're off pace, if you get those 2 laps, that's 2 laps that maybe a bunch of other guys in that wreck obviously didn't get. So that's points.
And if it's a long caution like it was, you just saw it, people just dropping like flies, and Blaney ended up finishing ahead of them. So it's a really smart move. I wouldn't be, if NASCAR is going to keep the damaged vehicle policy, which I think they are, I think they're going to have to make a rule around this, because once one team figures it out, everyone will capitalize on it. And then you're just kind of like you could have a big one at Talladega. There's just a group of like 4 or 5 cars where we're like, we're just going to limp our way we're going to limp our way to basically being black flagged. I feel like that's what's going to happen here.
I don't know. I don't feel like it'll be that big of an epidemic. And again, it's only for like 1 or 2 laps. If the car is so damaged that you can't actually run, they'll call you in anyways. If pieces are falling off, they'll call you in immediately, and they'll bring you to the hauler after the race.
I got to think that come playoff time, if somebody is desperate enough to get that extra spot or 2, that could make a huge difference. And I think at some, again, it won't be, maybe not this year, but I think at some point, because the teams always do this, they will take it all the way too far.
They'll force NASCAR to make a judgment call.
Maybe it doesn't need to be abolished, but maybe was it 6 minutes now? Maybe that's a little too short.
Well, the point of the rule is so you don't have damaged cars shedding parts during the race. They're just limping out there, barely meeting minimum speed. That's the point of the rule. The point of the rule isn't to DQ guys like Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott, who had minimal damage but just had specific parts broken, like in the case of Elliott, specific part broken that took a little too long to repair, or in the case of Bubba, they just misinterpreted the rules, and the rules are strict. I'm a Matt Kenseth fan. Believe me, I know the rules can be strict back in 2017 when he got basically knocked out of the playoffs because his team made one small rule infraction. So it's a strict rule. I think it's on the teams to know the rules. Adding an extra couple minutes, I don't know if that really will make that big of a difference. It might have in the Chase Elliott case on Sunday, but I don't know. I
mean, if you're going to keep it, my thing from the beginning is, why do we count the time you're on pit road as the damaged vehicle time?
I'm a little shaky on when they start and stop it. That could be all. And I will point this, like the one argument for getting rid of it is back in the Gen 6 era, the way the bodies on the car were, they would cave, they would tear, they would break, they would fall off. With the composite body, you don't really have parts hanging off the car very often. So if the original implementation of the rule was to eliminate debris flying on the track, with this new car, a lot of cases there's not as big of a concern of that. At least it doesn't seem, watching it on TV, it doesn't feel like the cars are falling apart.
No, and I don't, and I think that's something else they can look at. My thing is just they start the clock as soon as you hit pit road. So you're wasting minutes depending on the caution, and then if so, my idea was, if you're going to change it up and give them more time without having to really change the rule, just start the clock as soon as they stop the car. Don't let the teams over the wall. Because the car is stopped.
How's that fair for them when they can't even do anything to the car?
I say make it kind of, in a sense, make it like how it is as soon as you get off a red flag.
See, I don't have a problem with the rule. It's just like there's just a few areas they can, touch up on the rule. You know what I mean? Just they got to fix a few things with that. But
I personally, where I stand. I'm personally like, abolish it. I do
miss the days where you would see like half a car out there going like 110. Basically, it seems like I do miss those days.
Let us not forget our friends over at Lionel Racing just made some good money off of Checkers and Wreckers diecast of Dale Jr. at Bristol back in 2013.
Yeah.
So I think he only went back out for like 10 laps.
That was it.
Hell back in the garage.
Yeah, it's like, all right, let's go back.
Now, real quick, I want to one last thing before we kind of move on from this race. I want to give a shout out to Christopher Bell's final restart. He was back in 15th position on the final restart. Took I think through 1 and 2, went 4 wide down on the bottom, and managed to get his way up to a top 5 finish at the end of this race. Like
those guys that took fresh tires, that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out for them.
I think that Bell is silently flying under the radar. We'll talk about it in a minute when we get to like the cut line and stuff. But it's like he's on the verge of not really having to worry about points as long as nobody else wins at this rate. The way that his team has been so consistent. Yeah, I personally think it's like I don't know which one you'd want to argue is behind it, but you could argue that 20 team right now when it comes to speed is like the second fastest JGR car.
It's just the problem is they're just not, contending for wins quite yet, but they're contending for top 5s and top 10 stuff. So
I'm encouraged with Bell. I'm encouraged because he's got like 4 more road courses, I think, before the playoffs, and he's proven to be very solid at road courses in his Xfinity and Cup career.
And we're still going to have New Hampshire coming up, and that's proved to be a really good track for him in the Xfinity series.
That seems like his bread and butter because he won it there in Xfinity last year, and then ends up finishing runner-up. He would have caught Eric Almirola had they not, shortened the race.
He's won there a few times in Xfinity. I don't know the exact number, but it's at least like 3 times.
I would personally have him as a good favorite for that one.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned that about Christopher Bell. We haven't even talked about this. Austin Dillon was just a few feet away from clearing Chastain and Larson. If he had cleared him, I think he could have won that race.
It would have shaken up the point standings for sure again. But yeah, it's just one of those deals. Just had to wait just a little bit longer. But.
I think we had actually talked like last week or the week before. Last time we talked about the playoff cut line, we're like, man, if like Austin Dillon sneaks another win in, and like it might have been me who was like, I don't know, and then he goes out there and he's like did. 400 feet away basically.
All of his wins so far, he kind of has just snuck them in. 2017 Fuel Strategy, 2018 Almirola wrecks in the 500.
He just dumped Almirola.
He more wrecked Almirola.
He turned him.
Okay, 2020 though, him and his teammate, right strategy call, they held on.
Yeah.
And that nearly was a good strategy. They took 4 tires and it about worked. He passed like 5 cars going down the back straightaway.
Look, when you talk about consistency, Austin Dillon's like one of the most consistent mid drivers in NASCAR history ever. I mean, I'm not saying that as an insult, but his stats show that. I mean,
who's been better this year, Austin Dillon or Tyler Reddick?
Speed-wise, Tyler Reddick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, consistently okay, Tyler Reddick.
But average finish, I looked at this today, Austin Dillon.
Yep.
It's like a 15.5. It's like 2, 3, or 4 positions better than Tyler Reddick on average finish. I know it doesn't tell the full story, but it's just, he is consistent. Like you said.
That's the thing. He
consistently mid.
He knows how to finish races in the mid pack, but Tyler Reddick just needs to bring home a few more top 10 stuff. Dude, just apply the Christopher Bell philosophy on how to to get back up in the points and stuff. But again, Bell drives for Joe Gibbs, Reddick drives for Richard Childress, so not the same thing though.
Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, we're talking about drivers who want to try to make it in. Let's talk about the playoff cut line with was this playoff cut line within one? Okay, 12 races to go. 12 races to go. We've got Christopher Bell is sitting in 14th, plus 58 to the good. Kevin Harvick is plus 31 to the good. Tyler Reddick sits a little bit more in a hot seat, plus 8. Eric Almirola is minus 8. He's got himself outside of that top 16 cutoff line. Austin Dillon is sitting minus 22, and a couple more strong runs like what we saw this past weekend. He could very well get up there a little bit better. Eric Jones sits 19th, minus 29, and Daniel Suarez is minus 49. If you do not hear your driver in that group, well, they're a little bit more hard to get in there right now.
They'll probably need a win at this point to get into the playoffs.
Reddick pointed his way in this weekend by running well in the stages, and he still came back to finish in the top 10 somewhere, I believe.
That was another thing. We talked about how big this event was. This is the only race where you get a chance to get 3 extra stages of points. So, go for it all throughout the race.
But it's good. Oh, go ahead.
And a little tidbit here on Reddick, he actually scored the most points in this race.
Did he?
And he scored the most points, but he's just barely in there.
Well, it's what got him in. I mean,
yeah.
Because Almirola didn't do too bad for most of the night. He wasn't great, but he didn't do bad. But it's like he was the one that fell out. I mean, he's going the way we all knew he would go.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about. We were like, oh, look at Almirola, good start to the season. But then we're like, oh, well, let's see how he performs the rest of the regular season. And it's slowly but surely starting to creep back a little bit week by week. It seems like. But I mean, Christopher Bell, though, I think within a few races, he should be good as points wise and stuff to keep his way inside the playoff cut line. Kevin Harvick, though, I'm like 50 See, I'm like 75% sure on him and stuff, but like Jared brought up, he brought up a good point this morning when we were marathon training. I mean, Harvick, he hasn't ran terrible this year. Like a lot of people would assume he's ran like terrible and stuff, but I mean, obviously, when you compare it to his past years, when he used to win like 8 or 9 races a season, yeah, it's not going to be it's not going to look good by comparison, but he's up there.
I look at Harvick. I was just pulling up to be sure. Yeah, statistically, this is like by far his worst year since at least 2011. Basically, since he got to SHR, without question, this is his worst statistical season by a pretty wide margin.
But it's still mediocre, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, he's in the playoffs. His average finish is 12.7. That's pretty solid when all things carry. The 12.7 average finish is pretty solid, but I just haven't seen winning speed out of Harvick. So my thing is, I think he'll make the playoffs unless we get 15 different winners. If we end up at 15, I think we're at 11 right now. I think Harvick's going to get bumped out because I think a guy like Reddick or Dillon or Jones or Suarez could easily win. Heck, his teammate Almirola could win New Hampshire or a super speedway and knock him out. McDowell could win
Cole Custer could win Daytona.
Cole Custer made a showing, made an appearance late in this race.
Hey, shout out to Chicken Chicken Whiskey.
You can say it.
We all love chicken.
It's an official.
Chicken cock whiskey.
It is an official sponsor of NASCAR. You can say it, my friend.
I look at those guys on the bubble. Bell, Harvick, Reddick. Like, it's great if they make the playoffs. Right now they're all kind of on the bubble, but Bell's a JGR car. Harvick is Kevin Harvick, and Tyler Reddick should have a couple wins already. I feel like they want to make deep playoff runs, and none of those guys have wins, and they all have very few playoff points to their credit, especially since they're well outside the top 10 in traditional points. So at this point, if the playoffs begin, they'd be in a pretty significant deficit going into round 1 and certainly going into round 2 if they make it that far. So when I look at Bell, Harvick, Reddick, making the playoffs is fine, but they have larger aspirations. They need to win a race. They need to win some stages, maybe bubble up to the top 7 or 8 in points, get a few playoff points that way. Like they need more than just, we snuck in 15th. Like, that's not a success if you're Kevin Harvick. Maybe it is because SHR seems like they're in shambles. I mean, other than Briscoe, none of them are showing consistent speed, but it's not for Kevin Harvick. That's not a good year for Kevin Harvick.
Well, speaking of having good years, let's talk about the ratings a little bit. Overall, all of American motorsports appears to be down this weekend. Jarrett, what are the ratings this weekend?
So for the Coke 600, we had a 2.2 rating, which is down from last year's 2.3, and that means just under 3.9 million people watched the race. So down 4% in ratings, 5% in viewership. It's the lowest viewed Coke 600 since modern recording started 26 years ago. When you look at the key demo, 19% of the audience was in the key demo. That's 742,000, which is the lowest of the 3 races. Almost 1 million were in the key demo for Indy, and almost 600,000 were for F1 at 8 in the morning. But at the same time, like you were saying, Indy 500 ratings down 17%, Xfinity ratings down 23%, trucks were down 4%. I think like ARCA was down like 40-something%. Monaco was the only bright spot for any motorsports viewership in America. That was up 50%. But even that was like the amount of viewership change when it comes to like number of people watching. It was similar to the number of people change for NASCAR. But overall, not the greatest day in motorsports ratings wise that we've seen.
Yeah.
But her Indy was they blacked it out in Indianapolis because they didn't sell out the race. So
that was crazy. Yeah.
I don't know if that would make the difference of over 1 million viewers less this year. I think
it
would make a big dent in it.
It would make a dent. You're right. It would not make up all 1 million, but it would make a small dent. And in the case of NASCAR, not to make excuses, but it did go up against a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which got like nearly 10 million viewers. So I think it's safe to say that, small dent, but a dent,
So, and I won't go off on a tangent on this. I just want to bring this up as a tidbit here. I looked at the key demo from the NBA game versus the motorsport game races, and Monaco and America actually had the same percentage in the key demo as the NBA did. Obviously different viewership. So, apples to oranges, but that was very interesting to look at.
So is it about like 30% of the NBA viewership was?
49% of the NBA viewership was in the key demo, whereas 46% was for F1.
I thought it was in the 30s. Yeah, well, yeah.
Whereas NASCAR was 19.
So that tells you NFL, when you look at just sports, NFL is king of ratings in the US. But the NBA has for a long time been seen as growing fastest amongst young audiences. So that just speaks that, and I think that just tells you where F1 is beating NASCAR. NASCAR is still king of motorsports in America. I mean, heck, up against the Indy 500, they're less than 1 million viewers away. But F1 is growing fastest amongst the young key demo, and that's that just continues to highlight what we've kind of been aware of for a couple of years now. Just NASCAR's got to make more inroads there. They got to try something new. They got to continue to innovate. Learn from what F1's doing, and even IndyCar did decent numbers in that rating, and see what you can do, see what you can change.
Innovate the broadcast and how you market the sport, and I think that it'll at the very least taper off.
Broadcast is the first thing. Distribution is the big thing. Like, how is people actually consuming the product?
Well,
yeah, because we saw it. Like, it seemed like for a couple of years there, like, stuff was seeming kind of on the up and up. And I know that in general, Fox was up 10% over last year. That's also including the Daytona 500 in comparison. So it's kind of like, I think it was like around even-ish, maybe a little down this year in general. And it's not the end of the world kind of thing. A few weeks ago, we were talking about how high flying NASCAR was. It's something that it shows that when push comes to shove, with choosing different sports or racing to watch, it seems like NASCAR kind of gets left by the wayside going into the summer like this. And I think NASCAR needs to figure out how, going into May, can we make the races in NASCAR more appealing than what F1 is doing, than the Indy 500, than an NBA game. And I mean, it might just take till the next contract, to have somebody new come in with fresh ideas and kind of innovate it. I mean, ESPN earlier this week was talking about how, we haven't talked about it yet, but we're going to talk to NASCAR, and maybe ESPN coming in and doing some different things. Maybe that's the kickstart that could help a lot of what we're seeing. It's not even like horrible decrease. It's just kind of stagnation.
Yeah, stagnation.
What's been interesting this year, though, is that it's like the network races on Big Fox. I know they're up 10%. That's somewhat skewed because of the Daytona 500 not being rained out this year. But in general, the network races have been slightly up this year, but the cable races have been slightly down. I don't know. Does that speak to maybe still a slightly more interest in NASCAR this year, but young people don't have cable in increasing numbers?
Just the number of people who have cable keeps going down year by year. I mean, there's so many, streaming options, like even for free, even on my Roku TV and stuff. There's like so many free, sporting streaming options for me personally and stuff. And it comes down to, how they're, consuming this. Are they watching it on TV? Are they, streaming it on some platform and stuff? Like even now and then I'll even see like, a YouTube stream of the live broadcast and stuff. They eventually take it down and all, but I mean, again, it just goes back. People are just cord cutting nowadays. Just not a whole lot of people have cable nowadays anyway.
On the plus side, one thing that's indisputable at this point this year is that attendance is up across the board. Pretty much every race it is significantly up. So that bodes well to me. Hopefully the ratings at some point begin to follow.
Yes, that's really good that the attendance is up a lot. There's only so much that these ratings can tell us. I prefer an audience that can talk to us directly. Darian, what time is it?
The poll! The famous iceberg poll.
Poll?
Jarrett, I haven't asked this in a minute. Do we have a new poll record?
Yes, we do.
Oh!
Whoa!
So the previous, I believe, was 18.3 thousand. We nearly hit 19,000 votes on this one. 18.8 thousand votes.
Say it with me, guys. In 3, 2, 1. We have a new poll record!
That could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, it could have.
What are you talking about? We're
not bad.
Rate us some comments. What do we got?
Well, so looking at what people thought, 72% said this was a great race. 17% said it was good, so a net positivity of 89%. 6% average, 2% below average, 3% bad. So 5% net negative, which is lower than most races this year. People have been like, for all the positivity, people have also been on the other end more negative, even if it's smaller.
More positive, more negative. Awesome.
Very loud negative.
Looking at the comments, top rated one, at least on my end, was from Chris Washington. Says, instant classic race. This race had everything from start to finish. This race completely washed away the filth of the All-Star race last weekend with one of the most incredible 600s we've seen in a long time. Chili's Philly says, that actually felt like a crown jewel event. Great racing, not only in the front, but in the mid-pack, a high attrition rate, and Chris Buscher flipping wildly through the turf. Great stuff. Kind of going down the line here. I'm trying to make sure. Okay. JGR for life. I don't think we've read one from this one for a while. This race will go down as one of the craziest in all of NASCAR history. This race had everything that a racing fan would want. A wreck fest like no other, mixed with great racing all night long. The ending gave me the 2005 vibes with Johnson v. Labonte. By the way, congrats to Hamlin for his first Cup win at Charlotte.
Yeah, he finally crosses that crown jewel.
He had never won the fall race?
No.
Looking at Sam here, says, unfreaking believable. This race had everything, even a flip. I'm at a loss for words. What an insane race. Kind of going down. Henry 03 Studios says, by far the greatest NASCAR race I've ever seen in person. It had it all. I started to watch full live NASCAR races in mid 2020, so definitely the best race. Well, I'm glad you had a good one, though.
That's
I'm
cool.
glad you had a good one. Will England says this race revived the Coke 600. That was awesome. Also, happy birthday, Boyer. That's right, it was Boyer's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like around the time the race ended.
Yeah. I'm going to scroll down, and then after that, I'll find the first comment, but I want to go down to some of I want to see what people somehow brought negativity into it, what they thought. Because I saw a lot of people were getting mad at the video I put up when I was praising how good I thought the race was, because a lot of people were mad of how much there was wrecking, and a lot of people just called it a dumb wreck fest. So I'm curious if that translates to some of these comments here. Good Lord. When there's a new poll record, there's a lot of comments. Oh, let's see.
Usually the comments come on a negative race, people wanting to, throw their 2 cents around. So that's nice that there's so many people saying positive things.
Yeah, not bad.
So I'll read the last 5 of the negative ones because these will always be funny. T. Rogers says, not a fan of green-white checkers. NASCAR needs to fix the tires, maybe the wheels. I didn't think that was too much of an issue, T. Adrenaline Rush says, great, this crap was terrible. He didn't say crap, though. This dude with a lot of X's and numbers in his name says it was garbage.
That's all you need to know right there, the X's and numbers.
Yeah.
JJA 1987 says bad, the worst team winning. And then the most negative apparently was from Logan, who says boring, just like every F1 race, the pole sitter wins. I feel like you didn't watch the race. You
didn't watch it. You didn't watch it.
That's like did you just read the box score?
Yeah.
I feel like it.
I know we got Super Chats coming up later, but I want to go ahead and read this one because it really goes back to what we're saying with these comments here. Stephen D gave $5, so appreciate that. He said, I saw an interesting comment on Twitter where someone said, in quotes, my driver didn't win, therefore it was a bad race. Want to hear your thoughts on that? What I'm hearing so far, a lot of that sounds like that mentality right there.
See, I haven't been a fan. I haven't had a favorite driver since Dale Jr. Retired in 2017. But even back then, even if he did bad, it wouldn't I wouldn't judge an entire race off of one driver's performance.
I would. Yeah, I totally did. The 2015 season, I loved that season until Talladega. Then I went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, what a sucky.
I was a super casual fan. If Kenseth blew an engine on lap 60 like he did at Dover in 2013, I think I turned the race off and didn't pay attention to the rest of it.
I was pretty close to that. Once I got into my teens, I started getting better. But
I usually watched every race, but I think that was his second blown engine of the year already, and I was pissed.
All right. So the first comment, positive or negative, from Denny Delivers.
Oh, positive. Of course.
Positive.
It's a meme.
But his driver one, it's got to be positive.
Kyle Larson, this is the worst race of my life. Cliff Daniels proceeds to have a highly inspirational TED Talk about not giving up that can rival the Declaration of Independence. Larson, okay, goes on to top 10 anyway. Also, that was not the worst race of Larson's life. The worst race of Larson's life was behind a sim ring. But that was the poll.
Ooh, is it too soon for that?
No.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years. No, it ain't too soon for that. But no, that was the famous poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Awesome.
That was fun.
So, moving on to the Xfinity race, dominated by Hendrick Junior Motorsports. The stat sheet shows Josh Berry won this by 18 plus seconds. But really, it was an intense battle between him and Allgaier in the final laps of it.
Allgaier kept hitting the wall there. But yeah, like if you look at the intervals, only 6 guys who finished on the lead lap. So like if you didn't watch the race and just looked at the intervals, you would think it was like one of the most boring races, when in reality it was the exact opposite. And really quick though, shout out to freaking Logan Paul freaking tweeting about his prime car over the weekend. That was random.
Right.
That was random. That was like one of the most random quotes I've ever seen.
Quote tweeting you of all people.
Yeah,
After finishing dead last.
Dude, Darian made drama alert.
Yes.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like Keemstar was talking about the car.
Surprised it took this long.
Darian, not to inflate your ego here, but you have successfully been on Drama Alert, and you have had one of your videos reviewed on a stream by Critical. So I'm just saying, man.
Hey, that's what's up, dude. Moist, and then I don't know. Keemstar is like, I don't know.
Everyone just saying moist.
Moist, but no, we love
The
Moist.
one
bro.
time we just we just saw Moist.
And the funny part about that Moist one was that it was like kind of a cringe video, but anyways, like so I appreciate him watching my stuff, but yeah, no. Back to the Xfinity race though. Yeah, overall, I love that race, especially towards the end. I mean, Allgaier was giving it his all. Jared, didn't you say Junior was in a business meeting and he was like telling us like,
Yeah, he was talking about that. He's like, yeah, I'm at the Brickyard with a meeting, and I'm leaning over my guys and just being like, these idiots are gonna effing ruin it, and then they ruined it. Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
Allgaier did, but no, it was a very kind of old school Charlotte race where just long drawn out runs. The best cars got out front, except for Trevor Bayne, who sped because I of course picked him. But no, I mean overall, like I enjoyed it just because you don't see many races like that anymore. You used to see it a lot more, but pre-stage racing and pre-green white checker stuff like that. But to see something like that nowadays, to just see a team be flat out dominant like that, I have to respect it. But it does suck that Allgaier cut that tire down, because I would have loved to see if he could have made like one last run at him at the end there.
He threw everything but the kitchen sink he had at Josh Berry, though. No, it was fun to watch, and it was fun hearing the drivers only broadcast. Harvick, Logano, Blaney was his normal blank slate, but Logano was getting into it. You heard him after the race, like how much he was praising the track, the application of the resin, how racy it was. And I was hearing him say that, saying, "Oh, I hope it carries over into Sunday," and it sure did. But yeah, like you said, 18 seconds on the stat sheet looks like a total blowout. And, it was really a 2-horse race at the end there. But all throughout the race, there was action. And even at the end, Allgaier, Berry, crossover, slingshots, close quarters, edge of control, into the wall, out of control for Allgaier at some point. Like it was great stuff. Like that's ultimately one of the best one-on-one battles you can get. And it happened between two. I know Josh Berry's not a veteran of the Xfinity series, but 2 veteran race car drivers, like 2 of the older guys, if you will, of the Xfinity series. And again, Junior Motorsports is so much better than the rest of the field this year. I don't know where it came from. They're not usually good at Charlotte. And here they are they didn't sweep the top 2, but they had, I think all their guys still finished in the top 8 or 9. They had all 4 cars in the top 5 for a good portion of the race. Like last year, it was the 54 car week in, week out, regardless of who was driving it. This year, it's JRM, regardless if it's Sam Mayer, who's 19, 18, or Justin Allgaier, who's like 37. It doesn't seem to matter. They're there every week.
I would still argue I think Ty Gibbs is still a class of field because he's had a lot of wins this year, but
I don't think so. I think least there's always at least 1 or 2 JRM cars that seems better than at least the last few weeks. First 6-8 races of the year, Gibbs was right there with them, but he's running like 5th every week for the last few weeks.
See, I think it's kind of like a perfect storm here. Like I think that JRM is far and away the best team, and they've improved to be that way. At the same time, I think you'll compare to last year, 5 races less of Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric, and that Penske team isn't there. So I feel like the competition they would have had is gone now. So they're able to take advantage of that void, and then they fully have. I don't want to discredit anything they've done because their team is head and shoulders above everyone else. I think for the last couple of weeks, like they've come over the radio to like AJ Allmendinger, who has before this week been the most consistent guy in the field and been like, hey, we'll get it fixed. The motors aren't going to be as good as those guys, man. And it's
but
also shows how good they are.
Speaking on another to colleague racing, I mean, like I thought they would be a whole lot better. I mean, they're still good, but I think we're starting to see like, okay, now that they're operating a full-time Cup Series team,
I think it takes away from it just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're still running good though. I mean, I think all 3 of their cars are inside the top 10 in points and stuff. But I mean, compared to last year, you think that, by now, AJ Allmendinger might have multiple wins, then maybe, would have liked to see Landon Castle at least have a win and stuff. But I mean, they're still running solid though, so it's still a solid year. But compared to last year,
this just feels like the best driver lineup they've ever had. I mean, they have the defending series champion, they have Allmendinger, who's a threat to win every week, and they have Landon Castle, who everyone's been singing his praises for the last decade. He's finally in a competitive ride. And no, you're right. Ultimately, they're going to make the playoffs, probably all 3 of them, but they're not winning races. I mean, Allmendinger, I know this week was his first finish, I guess, outside of the top 10. So you can't say they haven't been there, but they haven't been in the same zip code as the JRM cars or at times the 54 car. And
they're probably spread too thin.
That's what I mean. It has to be that because there's no other reason. Like, no disrespect to Justin Haley, Jeb Burton, but I feel like Daniel Hendrick and Landon Castle are as good or better than them. And I would expect the performance to be improved.
And Eric, I'm so happy you mentioned Jeb Burton's name. I almost forgot. Do we want to talk about that beef with him and Gragson? Well, yeah. I'll go over like some of the parts.
It just seems like it's more beef that Burton wants than Gragson wants.
But what's crazy to me is that some of the stuff Jeb Burton was saying was like, oh, I'll wreck the dog bleep out of you, or like, oh, if I wanted to wreck you, you wouldn't be walking. That I was like, whoa,
let's relax. That took a little too far.
Like, look,
is it out of touch, and is it like bad to be able to say whoa, take it easy, man?
I will say this. I would have loved if Gragson would have fired back with, well, you must be getting lapped if you're around me to wreck me, so.
But the funniest part about this whole thing was, like, not only the Noah Lewis interview that he got with Gragson, which, by the way, Noah Lewis, spectacular at the track content this year.
He's busy.
Superb stuff. Yeah, yep. He's a very busy man. I love it. But also, too, Jeb Burton, he goes on NASCAR Twitter. Me and Gragson were in the same equipment, and boom, check out the stats. I beat him. And the freaking stats prove that's not the case at all. It's not even close because he ran some races for them in 2020, had 0 wins, maybe like a couple lives here and there, but obviously was not as good as Noah Gragson.
His time with JRM did not proceed for racing.
Yeah, it's very forgettable. Yeah.
No, my big thing with him was, he says Noah Gragson first approached him, and so I'm like, oh, okay. But obviously it seemed like Burton was the one to escalate things on pit road in the garage. Yeah. But when you go back and look at what happened to him on the track, and
it was racing.
Jeb Burton posted it himself, like this proved his point or something, and it did not.
It's racing.
It made him look, in my opinion, really bad.
Like, I don't get. Very soft. I personally didn't see what Gragson did wrong there. I mean, because that took place in the final laps, right?
It was late in the race. I don't know exactly when.
Okay. But it's still late in the race. You got to go.
It was an aggressive move by Gragson, but not dirty. I wouldn't even say it was over-aggressive by any means.
We have seen Noah Gragson make way worse moves than that.
I made this point in my video. We saw worse slide job attempts in the Cup race, like Suarez on Kyle Busch, and that didn't lead to a big altercation.
I think, honestly, Jeb Burton was just in his feelings because it was Gragson who passed him like that. Maybe I think he
was probably mad that Gragson came up to him after the race, but Gragson came up to him because he nearly got dumped going 190 miles an hour. I'd be heated too if I almost got dumped for no reason by Jeb Burton. So
it's like, wait, so you were gonna dump me because I was racing you hard?
Because I literally passed you. Like, I don't know. It was a weird look for Jeb Burton, but I think he moved on. I feel like after he got ratioed a couple of times on Twitter,
he got ratioed.
He started to back down a little bit. Now I know obviously Twitter, a bunch of couch, Monday morning quarterbacks trying to tell a race car driver what racing is. So I just because he got ratioed, that doesn't mean he was wrong. Plenty of correct people have been ratioed before.
NASCAR Twitter, man.
I think it certainly made him realize that, hey, maybe I'm coming at this from a wrong perspective.
But it also proves, man, like NASCAR Twitter, like for as toxic as it could be sometimes, it can be so entertaining for those little ratios and stuff. I'm here for it. I love it.
Well, let's move on away from Xfinity ratios and let's talk about the truck race where once again Darian strikes Carson Hocevar.
What, dude? I don't know what's up with him, dude. He is so close. He's just so close to a victory. He's there. He's right there. But I mean, like, I will give him this though. I'll give him some a little bit of criticism here. He did towards the very end of that race was driving a bit in over his head towards the end there. Against Ryan Preece. I know Preece had some stuff to say about it. But yeah, Carson Hocevar, I think, he's in a similar situation, kind of like a Suarez in a right, where it's like, I've had so many opportunities to win a race this year. The pressure's on. So maybe he was just pressing towards the end there. I mean, at least give him props. He even admitted, like, I drove it a little too hard.
With the Preece thing, I guess it's weird because I still see him as like a cup level talent, even though he's just kind of like whatever opportunity he gets right now. Preece doesn't get as many chances as Hocevar to go win these things, and that's now like I think 2 or 3 that have gotten away from Ryan Preece this season. So to a point, I kind of understand why Ryan Preece is so angry. Carson's gonna get a lot more chances to go out and win. Ryan Preece isn't.
No, he doesn't have his opportunities are very limited. Let's put it that way.
I just feel like Preece, and I know he's been aggressive in the past. There were people on my video that commented on how he raced Elliott Sadler a few years ago in the Xfinity series. So I know he's been aggressive. He's been that guy in the past. But I think his response to Hocevar, the little mini lecture he went on national TV.
Don't do that.
I think that was just kind of a general response to what I think many veterans of the sport perceive as an over-aggressive racing culture coming up through the lower ranks. Mm-hmm. Hocevar is great. He's 19 years old. He's got his whole career ahead of him. I think he has a very bright future, and he deserved to win that race until that late race caution. I mean, that was heartbreaking. You knew once it went to an overtime restart, anything can happen in these truck races. It was far from a sure thing he was going to win that race when Preece went in side by side with him. But Hocevar made a mistake. He made 2 mistakes. He ran out of racetrack in 1 and 2, got into Preece and wedged him up into the wall, and then he drove it in too hard or got loose in 3 and 4. So Hocevar made 2 mistakes. He owned up to it. Credit to him. But that doesn't mean Preece doesn't reserve the right to put him on blast for it. I thought Preece's comments afterwards were entirely justified, and I kind of appreciate them. I'm a big Hocevar fan, as I think we all are. But I also want to see cleaner, respectful racing prevail. And Preece, while he's not the most experienced guy in the field, he is like 30 years old. He's a veteran. He has some leg to stand on. He's won into the lower ranks at least. He's a highly respected modified racer from the Northeast. He has room to talk on this type of issue, and I hope people listen. And people like Hocevar. I like Hocevar. I don't see him as an over-aggressive driver usually. He's just young, and he's pressing. He's been close to winning that first race, and it hasn't happened. Just got in, kind of like Briscoe, little over his head, and it stepped out from under him. Deserves to be called out for it. He did a good job taking the blame for it, and I think you just move on from there. This isn't the kind of thing that carries on for week after week.
No, it's a lesson thing. But also, I didn't like how some fans were like, Ryan Preece went too far. I'm like, no, he didn't. I think he was pretty spot on, I mean, he was competing for a win also.
He had every right to be upset about that.
Yeah.
But
although didn't call him a hack, didn't do,
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He was just like, don't do that. Like that's all he said.
But although Carson didn't get it done, Nice Motorsports' old workhorse Ross Chastain proved that Nice Motorsports can still get the job done. They can still win. He went out and got another win for Nice Motorsports, rocking that sponsor we saw on his car a couple weeks ago in the Cup Series, joined him for the Truck Series. So congratulations to Ross Chastain on getting another Truck Series win.
Yep.
I think they said that was his 4th career Truck Series win, because it feels like 5, but you got to remember that one was took away from him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I don't know how many
reminded me
truck
of that.
wins. I know he had
I think
3
it's
that
4.
one year with Nice, I thought.
Mhm.
He got 3 confirmed. It felt like 4.
Yeah, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's his 4th. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll do it for all the racing we saw this weekend. Pretty overall great weekend of racing. Now, if someone's got a stopwatch, we'll do 3 minutes of super chats.
I could hold on.
I'm
Very
slow.
good. Yeah.
I got you.
Oh.
Just tell me when you're ready.
All right, let me refresh the page here, and then I'll get them all pulled up.
And no, not yet.
I got to scroll down a lot. You guys have been very generous tonight, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, let's start off. You ready?
Ready.
Jar Jar Binks starting us off with $1.99. Appreciate that, Jar Jar. Misa back, Danny. Misa love you. Yusa boo. Doo head. Kevin Harvick, of course. Wouldn't be starting off any other way. Herbert from Family Guy coming in with $1.99. I'm the cameraman at Fox Sports. Jarrett is right. Santa Claus coming in with $1.99. Appreciate that, Santa Claus. Danny is on a nice list. Awesome. $2 and I'm on a nice list.
What are them kids doing in the stands there?
Okay, this next one I'm actually having to go to their channel to read this full. This channel is called Squidward Tentacles, owner of Brooks Burgers Incorporated. Brooks Burgers is apparently a new name they've got for us, so let's see what this is. Blue Jimmy fan can tell you Brooks Burgers is great. Okay, thanks, Squidward. Appreciate the $1.99.
Squidward.
Darth Elmo coming in for $1.99. Elmo go to the dark side. Elmo hate Kevin Harvick like Jar Jar. Ooh, okay.
Elmo go to the dark side. I can't do it.
At some point, are we just punching down at poor Harvick? He hasn't won a race in like 18 months.
Yeah,
know,
guys, get over it, y'all. Like y'all won. Like
Yeah,
he hasn't won.
yeah. y'all already got to the man.
Yeah, y'all won, bro. Get over it.
Isaac coming in for $1.99. Hey, Jar Jar, did you obliterate Texas Speedway yet? John Vandeventer coming in at $4.99. Appreciate that, John. What a great race. Way better than the All-Star race. In my opinion, it was the best race of the day. Even better than the Indy 500. Monaco was decent. I think I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, I agree.
Lord Voldemort coming in for $1.99. Appreciate that. The Dark Lord is back with a Brooks Burger. Boo Kevin Harvick. Okay. Everyone's enjoying those Brooks Burgers while they boo Kevin Harvick tonight. I see that. Avatar Horror coming in for $1.99. Appreciate that. The Avatar wants Eric Estep to stop summarizing super chats. I should have summarized that. I'm sorry.
Just Jar Jar Binks.
Santa Claus coming in for $1.99. Santa wants Eric Estep to boo Kevin Harvick or he's on the naughty list. Oh my gosh.
What is it? Christmas in July almost.
Y'all said I booed him too much last year when I called him out for the Roval.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it too much? Am I too little?
No, I thought you had the right.
Oh, I'm
one.
always 100% on point and fair with my predictions. I'm always accurate, but just some people don't
30
see.
seconds.
30 seconds.
All right. Santa Claus coming in for another $1.99. Jarrett, what's your favorite NASCAR romance novel?
All of them because I haven't read them.
You're gonna get asked that every week.
And
Should I read one on a stream?
maybe sometime. But I got time for one last super chat here. And the name, oh boy, Twisted Nipples 82 coming in at $5. Shout out to another heartbreaking weekend to the 899 and 2311. Also shout out to Austin Dillon for saying, I didn't know I was 3 wide twice in the same weekend.
And 3 minutes.
Thank
I don't know
you.
why this comment made me laugh during that, but on the normal chat from Jason Conway, he just said in the middle of all this, can we talk about Garrett Smithley?
Okay. Let's talk about. You remember when Garrett Smithley was on JonTron? Remember that, guys?
Did he ever win?
Oh my God, that's right.
Did he win any of those pro invitational races, or did he never? Did he ever?
Yes, I think he won one.
He won
All
one,
right,
I think.
boom. You're welcome, Jason. We talked about
there you
Garrett
go.
Smithley.
I just keep seeing members of the chat just put in, yeah, Squidward.
Squidward.
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking at the screen. I couldn't tell who said that. I just laughed because I heard my ear.
Eric.
I wasn't sure if it came through the mic.
Yeah, Eric.
Because when I have to read those, I have to get off of where I can see you guys. So I don't know who's saying what.
So Eric did the Squidward one, Terry did Elmo, and I did Herbert.
I could tell you did Herbert.
Greatest crossover since Avengers.
Great.
Well, appreciate the super chats. We'll get back to more of those later. We are funded by viewers like you. Thank you. We are also funded by one of our loyal sponsors, Lionel Racing. Get your official NASCAR diecast from our friends over at Lionel Racing. You can pre-order your 2022 NASCAR diecast or even go back and order some of your favorite ones from last season for our friends at Lionel Racing or an authentic NASCAR retailer near you. And you can also catch their NASCAR Phoenix lineup coming at your local Walmarts. And we are going to start straight into the bumper cam here a little bit. Eric, you better join in with us.
Yeah, I'm actually hitting my camera too. I should stop. It didn't work last week.
Yeah, that's a good way to break it. I'll start us off here. I've got the Martin Truex Jr. 2018 Bass Pro Shops Ducks Unlimited car. He ran this one in the 2018 night race at Bristol. I was there for that one. Enjoyed seeing the paint scheme out on the track. Unfortunately, that race did not go well for him. What do you guys have?
I have Jeff Gordon's 2006 DuPont Chevrolet. It's basically like every single other one since 2001. I mean, it's a nice scheme. I like it.
Yeah, it's a typical Jeff Gordon scheme.
Is that William Byron? Whoa.
I've had it on my desk actually, right at the base. I have the Earnhardt statue on my desk, and so it's like right on the base of that. So it's just like it'll make every Earnhardt fan that comes in here happy watching him tower over Jeff Gordon.
Hey, can I see that car up close again?
This one?
Yeah, that one looks like it's perfect to punt into the turn at Darlington.
Oh, no. All right, so for my diecast, 2000 Casey Atwood Busch Series car, he actually ended up winning 2 career Busch Series races for this team. So yeah, I love this car, and it was a rare find. I think I found this at the Daytona flea market for only like $10. So yeah, when it was open, when it was freaking closing early, but yeah, so awesome find. And one thing I am going to change up with my diecast thing, not only will I be showing diecast, but I'll show off a bit of my program collection. So 2000 car, 2000 program, original Winston 500 program.
That is really cool.
The side of Dale Sr.'s final victory. Yeah, this is back when programs were actually, a lot of effort was put into them. But yeah, this is one of my most precious NASCAR collectibles. Yeah, so I had to throw it with the 2000 diecast.
Wasn't it just collecting dust?
What? Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. When I was interning interning at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, they just had a huge pile of them. And they were about to throw them away. I was like, no, let me take them. Let me take that off your hands.
Okay.
So it's a rescue.
Not to try to end your story there, Darian, but I see Eric's got Bobby Labonte. We know you're a huge Bobby Labonte fan. We know about that big piece of metal you got there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is my smaller chunk of metal I got here, but I just got the Bobby Labonte Interstate Batteries colors. I feel like I haven't shown this one on the show in a while, maybe ever. But I was thinking about Bobby Labonte because earlier today he was the first driver to make hot laps at North Wilkesboro Speedway since I think 2011. So I figured that was somewhat timely. I don't know. I'm always looking for some sort of connection. That was a loose one, but
that's a pretty cool connection. He was driving the Harris Lou designed Cookout Modified.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, Harris Lou is one of the best designers out there.
Gotta get a diecast of that. Do they make those still?
I wish they did, but I don't think you can find them. But hey, if you do want to find a good diecast, go check out our friends over at Lionel Racing. They've surely got one for you. Now let's get back to the show. Hey, for us in Tennessee, did you guys just see the warning come on our phone?
Oh yeah, there it is.
A weather warning?
Yeah.
Wait, not quite. It's not quite a thunder warning, but it's once again it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jared, what do we have on tap?
It was just not loud enough to not break your microphone, and we got all of that.
Awesome. I'm here for it. Nice. All right, what do we have on tap, Jared?
My hearing ain't here for it. What we got on tap? We got Kimi Räikkönen will be racing the Trackhouse number 91 car at Watkins Glen this year, and it'll be the only race that the 91 team runs in 2022 at the moment.
Eric, why?
Shell Pennzoil will continue its 30 race year deal 30 races a year deal with Penske for the 22 team, according to Adam Stern. While they haven't re-signed Joey Logano, they're pretty confident in that one. Negotiations are going well with that. I talked about this earlier, but ESPN will be in the conversation with NASCAR about the next TV deal. Says at the moment they're happy with F1 as their flagship motorsport network for the network, but that is just for now, which makes me think they're going to go in hard for NASCAR. That's according to Adam Stern. Jimmy Johnson has said he is up for the double in 2023 if the opportunity is right. He said he had the opportunity in 2000, I believe, 12, and he turned it down.
Hey, Hendrick Motorsports, get another car ready.
I believe Kyle Busch had a similar one too a few years ago, but Gibbs wouldn't let him. The All-Star race has been confirmed to be back at Texas Motor Speedway next year. Hey, would you rather that or a points race?
Don't. Whoa, Jared. Whoa.
I'd rather see it blown up, but I mean, I don't have that power. So
and you've been put on a watch list for that. No, Ryan Hunter-Ray will be joining the SRX this summer, according to Camping World.
Nice.
And here's some good stuff too. The Phoenix Raceway has confirmed that it will host the championship weekend again in 2023, as they have sold out the Phoenix finale before the end.
At first, I wasn't too excited about that announcement, but hey, that other announcement, that proves why.
That's good.
And Gateway has sold out all 57,000 of its seats and 1,200 campsites for this weekend, according to the Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's the first sellout the track has ever had.
If you're going to the race, get a parking pass. Make sure you get a parking pass.
No, I think they're already sold out of those.
Oh, whoa. Damn.
Racing Electronics will not be at Indianapolis this July for the NASCAR weekend. It was confirmed on Reddit by a Reddit user who had checked with Racing Electronics, and they confirmed also that they're not going to be going. So if you're going to want a scanner.
Why? Why, bro?
I don't know.
4K.
Ben Rhodes will be practicing and qualifying the Colleague 16 car this weekend. And to finish it off, Raja Karuth will drive the number 7 Spire truck.
Cool.
I did not expect that one to come out today, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Raja. That's a great opportunity.
I'll say he finishes top 10, top 15 around there. Maybe even a little bit better. You never know.
We'll see, because we've seen the Hendrick guys get in there and do good, but I don't know.
We'll see. Just get your feet wet first.
When those deals happen, I don't know who actually is making the truck.
Yeah, good point. Just seat time. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
This time, don't blow up my ears.
All right, I won't blow it out, I promise.
And, muted version.
And that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Don't mind me. I just got my visor down. I'm over here welding something off camera.
It looks like a VR thing. Looks like random VR system.
I guess that's probably more accurate. But that was my genius segue into our second sponsor of the night, Forney Industries. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and more. For do-it-yourselfers all the way up to professional metalworkers, Forney has everything you need for your next project. So shop all of their top-of-the-line products at ForneyInd.com. Link is down in the description below. Or look for their green Forney logo at an authorized dealer near you. Make sure they're authorized, nothing unauthorized. We don't endorse that.
No back alley deals.
We will not.
No back alley Forney deals.
We will not have any black market Forney deals going on here.
No black market. No.
I'm going to get back to my project, and then we'll go on with the show.
Nice.
Man's looking like RoboCop over there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So, we just went from the longest race of the year, 600 miles, to now one of the shortest of the year. Only a 300-mile race coming up this weekend, and we're at 2 brand new tracks. The Cup Series will be going to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, which is just on the outskirts of St. Louis, and over in the Illinois side of it. And then we've got... the Xfinity Series will be up in Portland, Oregon at the Portland International Raceway. NASCAR has not been to Portland in a long time. So this is really nice to see. Both of these tracks at one point were even considered to be done in NASCAR's eyes. And now they're both back, one of them hosting the NASCAR Cup Series for the first time. The NASCAR truck race will be the Toyota 200. This is a 160-lap race because I think this is a 1.25 mile flat oval. It's an egg-shaped oval, so keep that in mind too. Very interesting track design. 160 laps. Start time will be early, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and MRNs. And me and Jarrett, we will be covering the races this weekend. So we're going to have a lot of downtime because these races will get done pretty early when we are there.
So say hi to us.
Yeah. Weather is looking pretty nice. 79 degrees on Saturday, cloudy and humid. A 25% chance of rain, but in the summertime, that's kind of to be expected because heat storms can come up at any second. The defending winner of the Truck Series race here is Sheldon Creed, I should say.
Creed, the wheel.
Redemption in his hands.
Ooh, Creed.
Oh, Sheldon Creed, brother.
Creed. Holy diamond. Oh, no.
Sorry, I just heard one of
I
you.
know where it's going with that.
I heard one of you guys that sounded more like Hulk Hogan, so I had to say that. Xfinity race name is the Pacific Office Automation 147, and this is a 75
That just
lap
rolls
race.
off the tongue so well.
I know, right?
Try saying that 5 times. Pacific Office
The 147.
Yeah, come on now.
75 laps. I just call it 75. Just call it a 75 lapper or something like that.
I'm going to call it the one Ryan Vargas.
Hey, really quick, Jared's gonna love the name of this third race. Jared's gonna love the name of this third race.
Well, hold on.
We'll get there.
Let's finish talking about Xfinity. That
That
one starts
I
at
noticed that.
that one starts
I
at
didn't see it.
that one starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be on FS1 and radio coverage on MRN. Weather in Portland gonna be chilly, 66 degrees. Good chance of some morning showers, but it's a road course, so they can race in the rain. It don't matter. There is a 65% chance of rain, so we'll see what happens on that. The defending winner of this race is nobody because they haven't been there in a long time. The Cup.
Wait, pause. Let Jarrett say this next one.
Yeah, what's the name of the third race, Jared?
ENJOY.
Oh,
I don't know what that word is. Illinois 300. You know what? I'll tell you what. If you want to enjoy Illinois, you know what you do? You drive out of it.
You can
Which
sightsee.
is what I did.
Just leave.
Well, hey, to be fair,
Leave
the
that
race
hellhole.
isn't in Illinois, so step one.
Wait, I thought it was.
It is in Illinois.
Is it?
St.
Yes.
Louis is half in Illinois, half in Missouri.
I thought it was on the Illinois. Is it not on the Missouri side?
No, St. Louis
Oh,
is on the Missouri side.
I know, but I thought this was just like further.
No.
No,
It's in
this is Illinois.
Never mind then. My bad.
So keep in mind they're pushing the St. Louis market, so they're saying get out of here and go to Missouri. But enjoy Illinois.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Enjoy Illinois 300, 240 laps. Start time for this one is 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time with coverage on MRN and FS1. The weather for this one, we're going to have 84 degrees. Mostly cloudy. Whoa, I did not see this. 81% chance of rain? Really?
That's what it was this morning, yeah.
No.
Ooh, we will
I'll do a double check right now, see if they've changed.
We will see what happens there. They do have lights. They do have lights at Gateway. So
Yeah.
But they haven't been too trusty. That's the
Oh,
problem.
good point. Yeah, they got out before.
yeah, good point. Good point.
Before.
Look, we have an update. Thunderstorms throughout the day, only a 40% chance though.
Oh, okay, that's better.
I'll take it. I'll take it. The defending winner of this race is nobody. In the booth, we will have Michael Waltrip, but also I've heard mixed reports. Is Kenny Wallace supposed to be in the booth too for a little bit?
No, so John Roberts and Kenny Wallace are going to be doing a version of NASCAR race day and trackside at the track.
Okay, because people were saying like Kenny Wallace would be in the booth, and I was really confused.
Oh my God! I all respect to Kenny Wallace. If they had a Boyer, Waltrip, Kenny Wallace,
Oh, heavy.
Oh, no. Kenny Wallace would get them to shut up because he'd go off on a rant about Trump. I'm sorry, I've watched his channel. It's
Kenny,
entertaining.
yeah,
It's
it's
entertaining, but there is no way I'm putting him on the air.
No.
Hey, I think YouTube is a perfect platform for Kenny Wallace to say whatever he wants. So
Okay.
like the three damn Stooges. If you had the three of them on TV,
what are you doing with your glasses now, Eric?
Yeah.
I don't want to see any of this.
Wait a minute, Kenny Wallace is doing stage 2. Oh God.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he is doing stage 2.
Oh fuck!
So he will be joining the booth for stage 2.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's gonna be the craziest freaking. I can't wait. And what's funny is he has commentated from Gateway before. the 2004 Truck Series race. Listen to some of his final lap commentary. Some of the funniest commentary I've ever heard.
Well, you're not wrong. Actually, that was really entertaining when he did do it. Because he had the. I don't want to repeat the noises because it would sound weird, but he had some questionable noises during that race.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'll just say that.
I hope his hair is at least the way it is in his videos, where it just sticks out all over. I want him to come in there with a Doc Brown hair look.
Oh man. But anyways,
they're gonna do a lot of makeup for him.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But yeah, so that is the weekend in a nutshell. But before we move on into picks, let's go over the betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. So this weekend's favorites at Gateway for the inaugural Cup Series race, Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch are both tied as the pre-race favorites at plus 800. To win the race. Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin tied for third at plus 900, and finally rounding out the top five, Chase Elliott at plus 1,000. And then as for the best of the rest, plus 1,000 for all three across the board: William Byron, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney. And as for the underdogs, the underdog picks, Chase Briscoe plus 2,500, Kurt Busch plus 3,000, alongside Eric Almirola also plus 3,000, Daniel Shore 4,000, and finally rounding out the underdog segment, Austin Cindric enters this weekend at plus 6,000. Now, really quick for the
sorry, not trying to interrupt. I just wanted a chance to say this. Napa Racing Fan 927 made me laugh because he said, "Poor Mike Joy, he doesn't deserve this."
Oh yeah.
Just imagine a Fox producer coming up and saying, "Hey, Mike, you remember how it was like working with Darrell Waltrip all those years?" Yeah. How about you have 3 of those this weekend?
Yeah, I have 3 of those. Yeah, he's going to have to pull them, that's for sure. He's going to have to put them in check. Oh, man. But no, so really quick update on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League for those who are still playing. Still well over 90 plus people still consistently playing week in, week out. So really appreciate it, guys. Definitely very competitive this season. But right now, first in point, Trevor Sports 98, followed by 48 Nation, Toyota Tough, UGR2, and finally rounding out the top 5 is 24 for life. But some other notables, Daniel Baldwin is P12, so hey, he's flirting with the top 10, and my mom's P16. Not bad.
I got to do good somewhere, and it sure ain't in our pick points.
and then Claudia's in 21st, and then I am all the way down in 46. But on the first page, so that's all I care about at this point. But yeah.
So getting into the pick points outside of our fantasy league, our pick points, we have Eric, still the points leader, 250 points. Chat, you are minus 10 in second. Darian is minus 29. I have gotten a little bit more comfortable in fourth, minus 52. I'm kind of working my way back up the stairs a little bit, and Jarrett is passed out on the basement couch asleep and minus 64 in fifth.
Damn. Well,
good times.
I feel like I haven't gotten last year.
I feel like I haven't done anything since I picked Chastain at, I think, Talladega. So I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing.
I've had the best few weeks because I've managed to climb out of the 60s and close to getting out of the 50s now. So
here's the thing: my picks always have the fastest cars every week, and then something happens. This happened to every single race this weekend. My pick was in the top 3, and something happened to them.
See, I'm starting to slip back a little bit. I mean, yeah, minus 29 is not too far back compared to Jared and Danny, but hey, we got to get something going this week if I want to catch back up.
I realized what happened with me last week. Y'all kind of laughed about the meme of me picking Bowman, but he was the best of the 4 Hendrick cars, and we all picked 4 Hendrick drivers, so that really saved me, actually.
Yeah, Byron freaking DNF, so that's great.
Byron.
Yeah,
Byron.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes this week. But
so
yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into the Truck Series picks. Eric, you got to start us off, man.
I'm not going to overthink this one. I'll go Chandler Smith. I know Kyle Busch said over the radio last week that KBM sucks, but I have faith in Chandler Smith.
What does he know?
Yeah, his name's just on the team,
right.
on the building.
Coincidence.
But for those asking him to move up to the Cup Series, no. Never. He will never be a Cup Series owner. Let's just put it that way. But all right. Look, he's had, good runs here and there and stuff. I feel like this has got to be the weekend he gets his first win, right? Carson Hocevar. Congrats. Hopefully he gets his first career win this weekend. If not, then I would have jinxed him for the 10th time this year.
I think I am going to go with a guy who years ago at this track had a very controversial race, probably one of his most controversial races ever, but I feel like it's time for him to come back a little bit. I'm going to go Matt Crafton, actually, this weekend.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to be going the same way as Darian. I'm going to go Carson Hocevar. I feel like sooner or later it's got to break, and he has the speed to do it.
All right, so Chad, who y'all picking? Oh, it looks like
I'm seeing a lot of Zane Smith so far.
Yeah.
I am seeing a fair amount of 42, but I'm seeing a little bit more for the 38.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that too. I see one for the 4, but I mean, I see a couple of 4s.
I'm seeing a good amount for 4. I do see Raja Kareev getting a good notable one there, but
yeah. So we should maybe do a poll for this, or
yeah, I'm gonna say a poll between the 4, the 42, and the 38.
Yeah, those 3 numbers. All right. So while we get that poll down, should we start the Xfinity Series picks?
Yeah, who's gonna win at Portland?
Yes, Eric. Who's gonna win at Portland? You start.
He's going to be a busy guy. I know he's not going back and forth. He's got Ben Rhodes filling in for him over at Gateway on Saturday at least. But I'm going to go AJ Allmendinger. I think he wins at Portland.
Hey, I just got to say, it's funny. I see Denny Deliver said Tia Norfleet, just be a joke. But actually, this is the site of her dad's only start.
Yep. And he was way off the pace, too. Way off the pace. All right, so for the who's going to win at Portland segment of the picks, I was contemplating between, the usual suspects, AJ Allmendinger, and then obviously Junior Motorsports is running phenomenal. It seems like anywhere they run, they're awesome.
Hard to pick against them.
So I'm going to be honest. It seems like, to your point, it's really hard to pick against them right now. So I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier pulling out the victory on a road course.
And I am going to go with Ty Gibbs getting back to normal.
I'm gonna go with Eric on this one. AJ Allmendinger is statistically on fire at road courses right now. First or second is basically where he's been finishing in every single one of them for the last year and a half. And a brand new one, I see him getting there quicker.
That seems to agree with us.
Yeah. Give them Allmendinger. And for the Truck Series, go ahead and give them Zane Smith.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. So now to the Cup picks.
To the Cup picks, and Eric, we'll get started here. But I just got to say, I mean, this is a tough one because not a lot of these guys have any experience at Gateway unless they were part of those nationwide races back years ago,
or truck races.
Obviously, Brad Keselowski remembers this place really well.
Yes. I'm going with a Penske car, though. I'm going to go with Austin Cindric, struggling. I don't know. He hadn't been running that well. Then he's had a couple good weeks. Then last week he was running 9th when he blew a tire or spun out, whatever happened at Charlotte. Just kind of bummed for him. So I feel like he's going to kind of regress this weekend.
I'm going to go with Eric Almirola. I feel like they've been on the downward swing of a few races here. So he's only 8 below the cut line now, but yeah, it might be a little more this weekend. So not Austin Cindric. No, Eric Almirola.
Maybe he needs to run over to his teammate who's been a little faster recently, get some of that chicken cock.
Eric's face.
Went out of our way.
Yeah, it went way out of it.
I'm going to go for my suck pick, Brad Keselowski. And the irony of this place is that when I think of Brad Keselowski in Gateway, I think of him being wrecked by a Roush car.
And his late father saying he ain't going to kill my boy.
Yep.
Classic.
I'm also with Eric on this one. I'm going Austin Cindric. I think that right now this is going to be kind of a technical race. The team's going to have to be on it. And right now that 2-team with the driver that's brand new in the Cup Series, I just think this is a place that they'd probably struggle.
I think the Chad's going with the Stuart Haas driver, whether it's the 4, 10, or 41. That's what it looks like.
Should we give him their use?
The 41.
Yep, you guys can have Custer.
Yeah, they Coaster again. The thing is, Coaster actually ran pretty good last week, up until the end. But.
Yeah. So, moving on, who is going to be the underdog, Eric?
So I know we just dunked on SHR a little bit, but I'm going to give SHR fans a glimmer of hope. Eric Almirola. Think about his last win, probably the most dominant win of his career, if we don't count that one Talladega race where all of SHR was dominant, was at a flat oval, New Hampshire last year. 1 mile long. This is 1.25 mile. I mean, flat oval, a little different shape and everything. Some of the similarities kind of end there, but there's enough similarities that I believe Almirola could be a legit top 5 threat this weekend.
I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski. He's had, experiences here in the past, good and very bad as well, as we saw in 2010 with Carl Edwards. But I feel like he can maybe scrounge together a top 10 run. Brad Keselowski.
I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick for my underdog pick for this one.
As for me, I'm also going to be in the Stewart Haas tree, but I'm going to be on a different branch because I'm going with Chase Briscoe. I think he'll run pretty well this weekend.
And Chet, who is your underdog pick?
Sticky Renhouse. I've never seen that one before.
Renhouse.
Todd Gilligan. Oh, come on, guys. Suarez. Come on, y'all. What is happening in the chat?
There it is.
Buscher. Come on, y'all. Spell. Damn.
At least you're getting numbers right.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. Parker Kligerman is in the 15 this weekend. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pick him.
I'm saying more for Stenhouse in all honesty, so.
All right.
Yeah, let's give him that.
I like
All right,
Stenhouse. It's a fun pick.
We'll give him Stenhouse. Okay. And now we are at that part in the show. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win the inaugural race at Gateway?
Christopher Bell. We've been talking good about him tonight, especially Danny's been talking good about him tonight. But no, you're right. C. Bell's been on an upward trajectory the last few weeks. He's been great at qualifying this year, often starts up front. I think he stays there and wins at Gateway this weekend.
This guy's won here in the past. He's ran pretty good here. He's even dominated some races in the lower series here as well. Not just win them, dominate them. After this win, he will officially have the points lead all to himself, the playoff points lead at least. Ross Chastain wins the inaugural Cup Series race at Gateway.
I knew he would do this because he gets the first pick, but yeah, I've been talking good about Christopher Bell because
I'm sorry.
This track is a lot like New Hampshire. I think it's the closest track to this is going to be New Hampshire, and I think this could be where we see Christopher Bell go get a win this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am with Darian on this one. I'm going Ross Chastain to win, as Darian would put it at Gateway.
Oh, is that? No, I'm sorry.
You did say Gateway. I didn't want to point that out though.
Gateway,
Ray of Sunshine.
Gateway.
We're here at Gatorade Speedway.
Gateway Speedway.
All right, who is the chat got?
They're kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
I see probably more Chastain.
I see Chastain. I see Kyle Busch.
I'm starting to see more Chastains now, though. A few more.
Harvick's.
There's a Racing Redemption, so I know that's Chastain.
I see a couple of Harvicks, too. I'm surprised by that. Wow.
I'm going to give him Chastain.
Okay. Well, Chastain is. So 3 Chastain picks and 2 Christopher Bell picks.
Yeah,
not expect us to be. I expected a lot more like all over the place. For the picks.
that's what it's been like for the most part this season. But
so that means that probably none of our picks are going to be close to winning.
Yeah, we didn't cast a very wide net this week.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
we'll see what happens.
With that, let's move on to the final round of the super chats. Let's go pick up where we left off.
Love it.
We last read our super chat from Mr. Twisted Nipples, so.
Glad you said his name again. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I had to know where to go back to, so.
Didn't have to read it out loud, but we appreciate it. Everyone was thankful for it.
We all appreciate that.
Okay.
Visual.
Yes.
Listen, Eric. Mr. Twisted, we'll just call him that.
Mr. Twisted.
He is a paying supporter of NWP. Okay, so we're going to read his name.
Mr. Twisted. Nipples so pain.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'm going to get us off that one now. Irvin Alvarado coming up $9.99. Appreciate that. I'm glad I was in Charlotte and with next gen in person with the race. It passed my own eye test of multiple groove, close and hard racing. I got my money's worth, but that flip in person looked slow to me, he says.
Oh yeah, it looks slow on TV.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone was worried about him when that flip happened. It was just still more like that shock of it happening in Charlotte. Brandon Corlett coming in of $9.99. No comment here, just a donation. Appreciate that, Brandon. Clone Squadron Racing coming in at $5. Appreciate that. I can feel his presence. So close. So close. I can see him. In my mind's eye. Kenobi! Kenobi! If you have not been following the Kenobi series, I recommend it. It comes out on Wednesdays, just like we do. Jay Kreider, 175. Appreciate the $10 donation. Why do you guys think Ford is struggling so bad? They look faster, but still far behind the other two.
Not sure. I mean, like, are they in a similar situation Toyota was at the start of the season, where it's like they're starting to lose some speed? Or
I mean, I got to dig back into the story in the offseason, the very beginning of the year, when NASCAR made them change the front nose because they found they were too fast. Like, I wonder if they accidentally took Fords who are up here and now moved them a little like here. Like if they accidentally, like, I just don't know. How do you quantify the gains they were making because of the aero advantage they supposed
I guess maybe in those tests they were so consistently up front, they were like, nope.
I just look at like SHR has been struggling since last year, and in 2021 it was like, oh, why are we struggling? It's because of like, you know,
we're getting ready for the next gen.
Yeah, we're getting ready for the next gen. There's like no new parts are being developed, and we're behind or something. Or NASCAR changed this, and it's like, okay, but now it's a whole new car, and you're still a little behind. Now I just don't know. I don't know where the issue really is.
Not sure.
Yeah. Jay Crowder, 175, coming up another $2. Appreciate that. Predictions on who takes over the 10 car. Ryan Preece for me.
Ryan Preece. I say Ryan Preece.
Jam.
Kyle Busch.
Whoa.
Karsten Hocevar. No, I think it'll either be Preece or I heard some rumbles. I think it was Corey LaJoyce rumbling that it might be John Hunter Nemechek. There's a possibility.
Isn't he like kind of wrong sometimes on some?
He whispers about a lot of things. He's right about some, but he is certainly wrong about others. And this one's out there. I think John Hunter Nemechek's people are looking for a Cup opportunity, and he's done well enough in trucks that a Cup team might listen.
He deserves it, and there's no need for him to race full time in Xfinity. I mean, he's raced part time.
He could go straight to Cup and with a decent team and be okay, I think.
Yeah.
Jam plays games. Appreciate the $1.99. All hail Cole Custer, and may his chicken eggplant bless us all.
Does it actually say? Is it an emoji?
It's the emoji chicken eggplant.
Very, very creative. We love our viewers.
Thank you.
Napa Racing Fan 927. Appreciate the $2. MVP of the Coca-Cola 600. Cliff Daniels. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, fair. That was like one of the greatest motivational crew chief speeches I ever heard.
Yep. Our good friend Hot Piss coming out of $1.99. Appreciate that. What about 3 Charlotte races, one being the Roval?
No track, no matter.
No.
Only if it's one's replacing Texas.
Yes.
Unless it's
that's
the greatest
coming
track.
from me. I have Texas on my sleeve.
You don't have Texas Speedway on your sleeve, though. The state of Texas is cool. Texas Speedway.
I mean, if you lose a Texas Day, you still have COTA. So.
Yeah.
Ty Bands, the Bowman fan. Appreciate the $10 there, Mr. Fellow Bowman fan. Every time Bowman gets a top 10, I'll super chat 10 big ones. Hey.
Oh.
He's off to a good start, man. So that might be quite a few $10.
Yeah.
But we appreciate that. I appreciate the donation to the show and the channel. Nova Stone 12 coming in at $2. Appreciate that. In my opinion, if on pit road, 0 clock DNF and garage, no return. Huh?
What?
talking about the damaged vehicle policy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry, it was confusing.
Yeah, I think it's just the way it was worded. I'm sorry. I read this one earlier from Stephen D. $5. Appreciate that. And again, it went back into talking about my driver didn't win, therefore it's a bad race. We kind of already discussed that a little bit. Sly Supersonic coming in with the $7.42. Very specific, but appreciate that. What's up, my Fantastic Four? 2022 is the first time in my time as a motorsports fan when the Coke 600 was actually better than the Indy 500. Amazing. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit early on. I think we all
First
kind
time for everything.
We all kind of agreed it was like that, so appreciate that. Nova Stone 12 coming in again with another $5. Appreciate that. After my driver was taken out, I watched Game 7, and the race was still on after it was over, and it started hours before. Personally, I like long races.
I like them when they're good.
Yeah, when they're good.
They're rarely that good.
When they are good.
Like they have to be really, not just kind of good, really good.
Really
like,
good.
Yes.
That's what it takes.
Like Eric, how good? How good? How good?
Really good.
Really good.
Ty Band's a Bowman fan coming up another $5. Appreciate that, Ty. What's your guys' final four after halfway and who you have winning?
Ooh.
If you got to put me on the spot like that, I will say Chastain, Byron, maybe Bowman. I don't really know, honestly.
I just love how he slept in. Maybe Bowman.
I mean, he's got a lot of top tens, best average finish. So I don't know. I really don't know. Really, Byron and Chastain is the only two I feel really good about. I feel like Chastain's my personal pick to win a championship.
Who's yours, Eric?
Chastain, Larson, Kyle Busch. I don't know if I'm off the Byron bandwagon just yet, but I'll keep him in there for now.
Okay, I'll put Chastain, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson.
Chastain, Larson, Elliott, Blaney.
Okay.
Blaney? All
Yeah,
right.
he's been close. He's been close there. Yeah.
Hey.
Remember we had the same conversation last year, and then he rattled off 2 or 3 in a row.
Hey, let us not forget that the winner
wasn't in the next gen kart last year.
let us not forget that the winner of the All-Star race the last 2 years has won the championship.
Oh, shit. I'm screwed. All right.
Danny coming in clutch.
Danny with the super stats.
The stats.
All right. Braven coming in at $5. Appreciate that. The upcoming new TV deal might favor ESPN and NBC because they have streaming services that could broadcast the races commercial free. It's still gonna have commercials.
Well, yeah, maybe not as much as like Fox, but yeah, there'll still be commercials every now and then.
Yeah, because I still watch all my Tennessee Vols games on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
There's still commercials, so don't think that. Jay Booker coming in at $5. Appreciate that. Eric looked like he didn't have a clue what he was supposed to say during the new poll record shout.
It's been so long. I didn't know.
JS Sky coming in at $5. Appreciate that. 2020. Just making sure. Are we still live?
Yeah.
I know.
We're good.
Okay. Sorry. I just got a random message that said OBS like disconnected and reconnected successfully, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Nice.
All right. Kevin Stallman coming in.
Hopefully they missed my Buscher joke. That was kind of tasteless.
Oh. Well, you already admitted to it, so they're going to go back and watch it now. So,
Yeah.
Kevin Stallman coming out to $5. Appreciate that. My opinion still stands. Chase Elliott should win the regular season, as Denny Hamlin should remain having finishes outside of top 10. Okay?
But,
Okay.
Elliott's got a pretty big points lead. I think is Blaney still second? He's like 40 or 50 back. Like,
Elliott's been so consistent.
yeah, he's been consistent.
Austin Carper coming in at $4.99. Any of y'all going to Gateway this week? And if so, are y'all doing a meetup? If there is a tweet up, you can always catch me at a tweet up. If Bob and them are having a tweet up, I will always be at a tweet up.
Me and Eric aren't going, but Jarrett and Danny are.
Yes, we will be there giving you guys coverage. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel. If you guys remember, Atlanta and Bristol gave y'all good coverage at the tracks. We're doing that for Gateway this weekend.
Did they really not hear my Buscher joke? It wasn't that bad. I just joked that you said that the races that Buscher's flipped have been really chaotic or whatever. And so I said, oh, he's got to take one for the team. You guys didn't hear that? Well, if you didn't, you heard it now.
Jar Jar Banks coming up for another $1.99. Appreciate that. Misa want Yusa to stop summarizing Misa Super Chats EE.
That could be anyone. It could be Edgar Edmonton.
I won't say his name, but my boss's initials are EE, so
Oh.
Ooh, it's his
Whoa.
fault.
Ellis Elliott.
Eric has confirmed my boss. Okay.
Yeah, Eric is that.
Jar Jar Binks coming in
Get back
again.
to work.
Jar Jar Binks coming in again for another $1.99. Misa wants second Michigan instead of Disa Chicago. Ooh, Jarrett, what do you think? You like both those tracks?
Dude, Michigan's been trashed for a long
Yeah.
time. Bring Chicagoland back for a good send-off.
We'll see how it is at the next gen.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. What are you laughing at so much?
I saw that. Eric, you see that comment?
I don't know why that's funny. That's so funny to me. I don't really get it, but I like it.
I saw it. It's random. I love y'all.
Okay. Groovy Goose coming in with $1.99. Appreciate that. When is the NWP booth race? And spin the UFO was a request by him.
Yeah, he's secondly spinning it. So
Yeah, throw it like a frisbee.
All right, let me. I gotta refresh it again because it only went so far. Groovy Goose came in with another $1.99. Appreciate that. Favorite Kenny Wallace moment? Mine is, oh no. What?
That's when he's like, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
And then
I
also,
gotta refresh my Kenny Wallace memories.
and then also spin the UFO again.
Jarrett was right though. His YouTube rants, the few I've seen, they are something to behold.
they're
Yeah,
hilarious.
they're interesting.
He's got the Doc Brown hair. He's got the dress robe on, coffee. It's an aesthetic, man.
He's always gotta have the coffee, bro. He always gotta
I'd be interested to see how he would be as a guest on this show sometime. It would just all be about getting in touch with his folks.
Yeah.
I'd be sure to wear all my Cubs stuff.
He is his folks.
Napa Racing Fan 927 coming in again for another $2. Buscher's flipped look like NASCAR 21 ignition.
Physics.
Physics.
Antar Das coming in again with another $4.99. Appreciate that. I can't believe it's June already. Also, Darian, I blame you for the Dixon curse this year. LOL, Gateway should be fun.
Aw, man. It's not real, bro. It's not real.
Is IndyCar your jinxes?
I guess everything.
Dude, I was the one jinxing IndyCar the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Darian, we are going to go to our local Highland Rim Speedway, and you will tweet about some random driver you see in a race, and something will happen. I swear it will.
They'll get hit by a meteor.
Yeah, something will happen.
Like, wow, nothing can stop this guy now. He's 4 laps and a meteor hit him.
Boom! Gets crushed.
And then that's it for the super chats. But I did see there were some member messages. We have Philip Richards. He's been a member for 12 months, coming in and saying Chris Babehart is his comment. So I guess he's a big Chris Babehart fan.
Okay.
Suspended.
Yeah. Hot Piss, a member for 8 months. Appreciate the membership. Sad the 12 crash, but wow, what a race.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer 5478, a member for 12 months of the Danny B Superfans. First time to St. Louis and Portland, but not for trucks.
True, yeah, trucks have been there. You know.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. This is the first time that Gateway's been sold out, though. They've hosted IndyCar races, truck races, and they've
But
never
no,
sold out.
they wanted the cup race.
Until-
and
Yeah.
they got it.
It looks like they've reduced capacity because when I looked, there
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
like 81,000 was how much they used to hold, or 87,000.
Yeah,
or
that
something.
that makes
That was
sense.
way too much. Yeah.
Now they got, but still, like that, like close to
I've-
60,000 this weekend. Like,
I will say, Worldwide Technology Raceway and people at Gateway, they've done a good job of obviously focusing on the St. Louis market, but they've also focused on markets like Nashville. Because I've seen, I remember last year for the IndyCar race, I saw a lot of marketing for that to people in Nashville because they wanted to bring in that appeal of more IndyCar racing. If you enjoy the Music City Grand Prix, to come watch it at Gateway. So they've also focused on markets like here in Nashville as well. Then we got Blue Jimmy 48 fan. Good to see you. He's been a member for 13 months. And he says, great show. By the way, Brooks Burger is an inside joke. LOL. I'm sure it is. I don't get the joke, but I'm glad that everyone has enjoyed Brooks Burgers. And then lastly, a $5 super chat come in from Andrew Meyer. Fun fact, the most recent Google Maps satellite imagery of Darlington was taken during the 2021 Goodyear 400. You can see cars on a caution lap. And also if you go look at your Apple, if you have an iPhone, if you look at the Apple Maps of Bristol Motor Speedway, it is in the middle of the Truck Series Dirt Race in 2021.
Interesting. That's
So
cool.
that's pretty interesting how they have some racetracks with actual racing going on. I like that.
Nice.
But that'll do it for us tonight. We've had a good audience here tonight. Very generous donations. So we appreciate your generosity to the show to keep us doing this. And we will see you all next week. We'll be over on Darian's channel. That's Black Flags Matter. If you are not subscribed to Darian, make sure you are subscribed. Me and Jarrett, as we mentioned, we will be at the Trek at Gateway this weekend. If you see either of us, make sure you say hello to us and stay tuned to the channel. I will have some good coverage coming up this weekend here on DannyBTalks. And anything else that we need to say before we get off here?
No. Good luck. Yep, you guys have a.
Okay, on a count of three, let's all do that. 3,
All right.
2, 1. Yes, Squidward.
Hi, Chris.
All right.
But anyways, you guys have.
Cameraman doing up there?
Anyways, you guys have a spectacular time covering Gateway, and then me and Eric will enjoy covering the race at home.
Well, do we have Del call, or are we just getting out of here?
Yep.
Brum, brum.
I love how it's Eric's responsibility now. It's funny
How did this happen?
I didn't. Hey, you have it.
I've been in the
Let's-
shop indefinitely.
Listen, Eric, you signed up for the job when you started this, okay? I love how that worked. Okay, see ya, bye.
Goodbye.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
Now we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!